is a live presentation of CBC Sports. In Edmonton, Commonwealth Stadium was once a safe haven for the home team. Today, the Eskimos hope to return to home field form against Ottawa. Hope springs eternal for the Rough Riders, whose losses far outnumber their wins, but they remain in the playoff race. How have they lost half a dozen games by 4 points or less? Don't ask the head coach. But the Riders refer to their history as proof a terrible season can be salvaged. There's a link to the last time they did it. George Brancato is now an assistant coach, but in '81 he was head coach of the Ottawa team that finished 5-11 and went to the Grey Cup. There, the Riders almost pulled it off against the Edmonton Eskimos. But for a last-minute field goal by Dave Cutler that kept an Eskimo dynasty alive. 12 years later, history could repeat itself, but the Riders must first hold off Toronto and make the playoffs.
So now we sort of got a second chance, especially with Toronto playing Calgary and how strong Calgary's been playing all year. We come away with a victory here on the road against a good team like Edmonton. Go in effect 4 points up on Toronto. Things are looking very good for us.
The Eskimos' link to their past is vivid. Everything the current team does is compared to the franchise's rich Grey Cup history. In this city, they've come to expect a winning football team, if not a championship squad. Losing is hard to accept here. They can only take so much, and it appears they've had enough of it this year. Eskimo fans have even been known to boo their team, hitherto unheard of until this season. The Eskimos have not been meeting the high standards set by past teams. The head coach has been at wit's end trying to figure out his team. He never knows which one will show up. It's been trying on veteran players who've known days when the Eskimos were favored to win and almost always did.
This year, our most consistent trait has been our inconsistency. Offensively speaking, we have to sort this out to get in a role for the playoffs.
Today from Commonwealth Stadium, it's the Eskimos and Ottawa Rough Riders. The CFL on CBC. Today, from Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, the Ottawa Rough Riders against the Edmonton Eskimos. Welcome to Commonwealth Stadium, where a few moments ago the Eskimos took the field to mandatory applause, and that may be the end of the fans' benevolence today. Any additional cheers the Eskimos will likely have to earn. They're coming off a 2-week break, during which time they think they figured out which team they want to be, hopefully one that can put it together in the stretch and make a run at second place. The Riders are making some lineup changes today. The biggest of them, Terrence Jones, starts at quarterback ahead of Tom Burgess. Ottawa expects Jones to do some running today. That'll be a key to the Riders' game plan. There's standing room only in the booth at Commonwealth Stadium. Dan Kepley is there, so is James Curry, and in between them, Don Whitman may get to say the occasional word or two, although we make no promises. Don?
Thanks, Scott. Hi, everybody. I guess we shouldn't really be surprised by anything that happens with the Ottawa Rough Riders this season, but it did come as a bit of a shock that Tom Burgess, having a career year, isn't the starting quarterback.
Well, it was a little bit of surprise with the change, but Tommy Burgess, being the veteran quarterback that he has been, has made some critical errors as the season has progressed along, and Smeltzer felt that it was a time for a change.
Well, it certainly did. Two crucial errors, one against Toronto in a time count violation, a loss of downs, also a misjudgment of a field position and a yardage on a third down situation in Ottawa against Winnipeg. So that may have opened the door a little wider to allow Terrence Jones a starting chance.
Well, when we look at the numbers posted by Terrence Jones in his CFL career, Calgary and Ottawa, 28 interceptions, 8 touchdown throws. Not good numbers, Dan.
No, not at all. I think so. But if Terrence Jones may take a lead from a Jones that got a start last week, and Warren Jones, to go in there, he sat very idly, very patiently on the sidelines. Now he gets a chance to go in and hopefully be able to produce something on the football field.
Well, the Ottawa Rough Riders trying to break out of a tie with the Toronto Argonauts, Edmonton intent, and moving into a tie for second with the BC Lions. Scott?
October weather in the West can be anybody's guess, and aren't we getting a break today? It's cool but dry as the Eskimos jockey for position, and Ottawa tries again to stake a claim to a playoff spot.
First, we invented the minivan. Then we raised the standard of the performance car. Next, we did the same for the sport utility. and the family car, as well as the luxury car. And now, we're just getting warmed up.
Subway's steak and cheese sub is not only delicious, it's easy to eat anywhere. To prove that fact, I'm going to eat my dinner here at the rodeo. No one's ridden rocket launcher for more than 8 seconds, so I'll have to eat fast. But you'll want to take your time to really savor tender steak and cheese on our fresh baked bread. One bite and you'll agree. Subway makes great steak.
Now, when you buy one steak and cheese sub with a medium soft drink, you can get a regular 6-inch sub for just 99 cents at Subway.
Well, at least I get a meal on this flight.
Aspen Cologne for men. A compelling new experience for women. Aspen, now.
CBC Sports presents the CFL on CBC. Brought to you by Dodge Trucks, the most powerful line of trucks anywhere.
Back at Commonwealth Stadium as Edmonton and Ottawa head to kickoff, let's update you on a terrible turn of events for the Bombers in a meaningless game against Sacramento last night in Winnipeg. On this play in the second half, Matt Dunnigan, who'd been enjoying an MVP season, tore his Achilles tendon. The 11-year veteran is out for the season. We'll get reaction from Dunnigan and his teammates on Live at the Half. But Don, the Ottawa Rough Riders have been clinging to the hope they can still get to the Grey Cup. With Dunnigan out, it is not stretching it for the Riders or any other team to think that.
Yes, and another individual who is looking forward to getting to the Grey Cup is the head coach of the Edmonton Eskimos, Ron Lancaster. There's been a fair bit of pressure this year on Lancaster. More pressure on the shoulders of Ron Smeltzer, a former assistant under Lancaster in 1991 in Edmonton. Smeltzer, the head coach of the Ottawa Rough Riders. And there have been difficult times in Ottawa this year for Smeltzer and the Riders. Walter Stanley on the kickoff return. Stanley looking for a couple of blocks, trying to get wide. There's a penalty flag in the play. And Stanley brings it back to the 32-yard line. That's where Ottawa will scrimmage 1st and 10, depending on the penalty call. It could have been an illegal block against Patrick Burke that will bring this one back. Ken Lazaruk is the referee this afternoon.
Holding, Ottawa, number 38. Half the distance to the goal line. First down.
So Terrence Jones doesn't have great field position for his first offensive series.
Very critical, though, that Terrence comes into the game and becomes settled. Find a format and not try to press the issue early. Accept what the Edmonton defense is going to do, but he has to get rid of the ball very quickly.
Watch the ball. You're ahead of it. You're good.
Ball just shy of the 10-yard line. 1st and 10, Ottawa. Jones hands off inside to Joseph, and Joseph is going to be stopped right at the line of scrimmage by Benny Goods. Darren Joseph is the tailback for this afternoon's game, but Reggie Barnes is dressed and back in uniform for the Ottawa Rough Riders, and I think we're going to see him very early in the football game. That's a pretty good receiving core. You'll see Jock Climie and James Ellingson rotating at the slot back position with Rob Creefel. Chris Gioscas continues as the Ottawa center, taking over a couple of games back from Herb Damon. 2nd and 10. Jones, for the first time, tries to put it in the air, then opts to try and run, and he won't get a first down. The Tulane product is brought down at the 17-yard line.
Well, this is the thing that Terrence Jones brings to this game, the ability to elude and get away from tacklers, and there where he turned in almost a sure sack into a significant gain.
But not enough to move the yardsticks, and Jock Climie will punt for the first time since his collegiate days at Queens. He has kicked a single this year. That was after catching a pass against the BC Lions. He booted the ball 55 yards into the end zone.
Don, he brings that extra dimension, though, as a punter. He is a receiver who has great athletic ability, so he may pull a couple down this afternoon and fake him and run and pick up a first down with him.
Terry Baker out with an injury. Ray McAreedy had handled the punting chores, but they were also taking a look at climbing, and his first kick of the game goes to the Gizmo at the 52-yard line. And the Gizmo is going to lose yards as he tried to reverse his field and turn back, and he is out of bounds at the 46-yard line. Damon Allen had his best game of the season last week against Sacramento. He posted some very impressive numbers, going over 400 yards for the first time this season, as Edmonton defeated Sacramento 34-13. I should say 2 weeks ago, because the Eskimos had the bye last week. So this is a well-rested Edmonton team. 1st and 10, the ball at the 46-yard line. Penalty flag as Damon Allen throws deep, intended for Brown, and it's knocked away by Drawhorn. A penalty flag, however, back at the line of scrimmage.
Looks like Damon Allen, when he came to the line of scrimmage, he stuttered his count a bit and decided that he may have been able to draw the offsides of the Ottawa Rough Riders.
Well, offside, Edmonton number 4, declined. 2nd down.
Eddie Brown was offside, moving at the line of scrimmage prior to the ball being snapped.
2nd and 10, Eskimos.
A lot of speed with Eddie Brown and Henry Williams in the receiving corps, and Edmonton anxious to see what Wade Butler will be able to do this afternoon in his 2nd game in an Edmonton uniform. Michael Souls gets to the 50 and then is driven back.
When you have a blitzing gambling defense like you have with Ottawa, you get those linebackers running through those gaps, and if you can crack a seam with Michael Souls, you can have him off on a long run.
You really can. And talking to Damon Allen before this game, he really liked the opportunity of coming against a really aggressive defense and him being able to attack them offensively, because all the pressure lies on him to make the quick reads and get rid of the ball.
Glenn Harper stands at his 35 for this initial punt for Edmonton of the football game. Fine kick by Harper. Stanley retreats to his own 11. He's going to lose yards. Good downfield tackle by Bruce Dixon at the 10-yard line. 12-10 remains in the opening quarter.
First, we invented the minivan. Then we raised the standard of the performance car. Next, we did the same for the sport utility and the family car, as well as the luxury car. And now, we're just getting warmed up.
The next 649 jackpot is estimated at a colossal $10 million.
I'm discovering what people know about BC credit unions. Pardon me, folks. Did you know that anyone can use most credit unions?
Yes, we moved our accounts to a community credit union years ago.
Well, did you know that credit unions have invested over $13 billion right here in BC?
Yes.
Oh.
Part of that investment is a loan on our master bedroom and ensuite.
Did you know your jacuzzi has a spin cycle?
No.
BC Credit Unions. British Columbians investing in one another.
The last time Ron Smeltzer yanked Tom Burgess from the starting quarterback role in favor of Terrence Jones was August in Calgary, then a last-minute decision. Jones went into the game with the Riders' entire list, not comfortable with it. This time he's known all week he's starting. Harry Justvig is calling all the plays for him. Game plan simple, Don. Jones has got basically one read. If it's not there, he's supposed to pull it down and run if the opportunity presents itself. Last time he started, he was out before the first half was over. He's hoping to go a lot further this time.
Well, he told us he was very excited at the opportunity to start, something he had been waiting for all year long. And you see him checking his wristband for his play selections. But I would think if he doesn't get things going early, Justvig and the Ottawa coaching staff won't hesitate to put Tom Burgess in.
And they got to feel very, very comfortable about having a guy the quality and the experience of Tom Burgess waiting in the bullpen.
2nd and 10. Jones took his initial read, decided to run, and he should have a first down. He got up beyond the 20-yard line. He had to get to about the 21, and it appears as though he has done that.
Willie Pless tripped up Jones, and he's the injured ball player.
Willie Pless, who leads the Eskimos in tackles, slow in getting to his feet. The Eskimos had to make a lineup change. Larry Ruck is missing from the linebacking core for the first time in his CFL career. He has a hamstring problem. Bruce Dixon has taken his place. And during the course of the game, you'll often see the Eskimos go with 6 defensive backs. Jed Roberts will come out. Robert Holland will come in. Over the middles to Sean Daniels, and Daniels gets a first down, taking it up to the 33-yard line.
That screen play was set up by Jones's mobility. The previous play where he had ran, he was able to break the pocket after the rush came around, and this time he lets the rush come in. He slows it up by setting up the screen. The offensive line gets out in front, able to get their blocks, and Daniels is able to take it up for another first down on this series.
Reggie Barnes now comes up into the ball game, replacing Darren Joseph. The handoff to Sean Daniels, and Daniels takes it up to the 45-yard line.
Good call
Ottawa
that time.
team running well.
Absolute good call that time when Reggie Barnes came into the line of the fact all of Edmonton's defense is taking a look at him. They figure he's going to get the ball. They're going to showcase him on the first play, and they hand it inside. Excellent play.
He had been the featured back in this offense for many years, and you get him back in, you have a true legitimate tailback once again in this Ottawa offensive attack.
1st and 10, the ball just shy of the 45. Jones trying to get to the outside. He throws upfield. It's incomplete. It was intended for James Ellingson.
Great pursuit by Benny Goods on that play, pursuing Jones all the way out to the sideline. They knew this would be an extra dimension in Ottawa's offense with Jones's mobility, but the key is he has to get his feet firmly set to deliver the pass.
And this defense here, along with the whole Edmonton team, having this 2 weeks to rest, are in excellent shape. They did extra running, obviously knowing that they're going to be in good condition to have to chase this guy from sideline to sideline.
You spoke at the start of the telecast about the extra dimension that Jones adds in that he is very mobile, and we've seen Jones take off and run early in the football game. Here comes the blitz, and Jones stepped up inside it. And Jones is trying to stumble forward for a first down.
Great athletic ability demonstrated once again by Jones. The pressure of Edmonton, they're going to bring everything at him. They have that young quarterback sitting in the pocket, but Jones with his mobility
does an excellent job. He gets rid of and gets away from Donnie Wilson, the halfback that came, and then he just had Hunter being able to pause, broke him down, and then had that good mobility to be able to scoot around him and pick up significant yardage, and they're measuring now for the first down.
Hunter was just able to reach out and trip him up, or Terrence Jones may have gone a long way, but Don Wilson was blitzing, and Wilson actually overran the play by a good 5 yards.
Well, you get those defensive backs, they come in there head hunting. They're not accustomed to breaking down like linebackers or defensive linemen. They want that clean kill shot so they can go back and brag about in the locker room for the rest of the week.
And Wilson's anticipating him to push that pocket out toward the corner, so he's trying to make that blitz angle at a position where he's anticipating Terrence to Jones. Terrence pulled it down, came up inside, and was able to get away from him.
Ottawa gambling on 3rd down. Jones will keep, and he's beyond the midfield stripe for another Ottawa first down.
Well, when you look at the Ottawa situation offensively, they're almost like in a desperation situation. They cannot play conservatively this afternoon. They have to take chances on 3rd down, on 2nd and short. They might even want to air it out and go deep a couple of times as that situation comes about throughout the contest.
This is the hardest kind of offense to play against because you don't know what they're willing to do. There's no scheme. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no tendencies right now because this is a desperate team that's trying to do desperate things.
1st and 10, the ball just across midfield on the Edmonton side. 8:29 remaining in the opening quarter. Sideline pattern. And Stephan Jones will have a gain of about 5 yards.
If Terrence Jones can find that rhythm on that out pattern, that is an extra dimension he brings in that Tommy Burgess does not possess, that real strong arm to be able to throw that deep out pattern.
Stephan Jones, the leading receiver in the Canadian Football League, coming into the game with 1,180 yards. 10 receivers so far this year have gone over 1,000 yards. Movement at the line of scrimmage. It appeared to be an offside call as Barnes is the ball carrier. He is stopped at the line of scrimmage by Robert Holland. The Eskimos with the 6th defensive back package anticipating a pass, but it appeared as though there was movement by the Edmonton Eskimos, and that should give Ottawa an automatic first down.
Offside. Edmonton number 91, 5-yard penalty. First down, Ottawa.
You get that different cadence at the quarterback. Jones with a heavier bark than what Burgess would bring to the line of scrimmage. You had Woods anticipating it, got it caught in that neutral zone, gave Ottawa an automatic first down. Anything that they can do this afternoon to get first downs, they have to do it and be consistent about it.
You mentioned to it earlier on fake punts, fake field goals, razzle-dazzle plays. As I say, anything's got to work to try to score some points and put a W on the board at the end of this game.
Has to be an unconventional game for them this afternoon.
First and 10. The ball is at the 44 of the Eskimos. Dumped off to Joseph, and Joseph is dropped for a loss. Play read perfectly by Martin, and it's a loss of about 5. He anticipated the attempted screen, and he was there waiting for Darren Joseph.
Great read by this Edmonton defense. These linebackers are so active. Darren Joseph didn't do a good job of disguising the screen. He has to come up, make contact with the defensive player before he breaks off to get that separation. Gave Martin an easy read on the play.
Second and 14, Ottawa. They are back at their own 48-yard line. Over the middle, intended for Grifo, a low throw, something I suppose Grifo is not accustomed to in that he's 6'6", 215 pounds. Usually you try and take advantage of his height.
This is an opportunity when Jones set back straight in a drop-back position, had plenty of time to throw the ball, and for some reason just did not look comfortable. Looked like he was thinking too much rather than going back and letting his athleticism take over and just throw the ball the way he's been throwing it.
Well, the key to it, Dan, is his footwork. If you look at it, he's bouncing in the pocket. He has to sit there with his feet firmly planted in the ground, come over the top, and deliver that pass properly, chest high.
Henry Williams was telling us yesterday that he really didn't know what to expect from Climby. He had really no idea of how far he could kick the ball, where he should position himself. Well, Williams positioned himself pretty well on that one as he returned it to the 35-yard line, a 20-yard run back.
Flight 241 is ready for immediate departure. All passengers must clear.
I just want to freshen up my lipstick. Is it on straight?
Little Caesar's Cheeser. Not one, but 2 pizzas loaded with cheese. Choice of 2 toppings, free crazy bread, just $12.99.
Cheeser.
This weekend, don't miss the spectacular mid-month price crash sale at Future Shop. Future Shop has over $70 million of brand name audio, video, computers, and appliances. And right now, you can save like never before. Check out the super deals from Compaq, RCA, Canon, Mitsubishi, General Electric, Whirlpool, Panasonic, Apple, and many more. Hurry down to Future Shop's spectacular mid-month price crash sale. This weekend only. Don't miss it.
Hello, I'm Pamela Wallen. On the next CBC Primetime News Election Town Hall, we'll look at the state of government here in Canada.
Join Pamela Wallen for CBC Primetime News, Monday.
Next, on the Fifth Estate, Lyndon McIntyre investigates the bureaucratic blunder that devastated these Canadian farmers.
Like, damn you guys.
Tuesday at 8.
Climby was saying that over the last couple of weeks in preparing himself for a starting punting assignment, he was working on his rhythm. Handling the football has also been a bit of a problem.
It has, and if you look at him when he talks about his rhythm, he is not getting that leverage on that lean back and follow through, and that's why his punts have been going end over end.
Edmonton 1st and 10. The Eskimos at their own 35. On the last series, Ottawa had the football for almost 6 minutes. Handoff to Lucius Floyd, and he is going to be stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Anthony Drawhorn came up to make the tackle with help from Angelo Snipes. Snipes has been a mainstay of the Ottawa defense for the last couple of years. And basically, this is the same Ottawa defense that lined up last week against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Angelo Snipes leads the team in tackles. They were forced to make a change in the secondary. With the injury to Brett Young, Joe Fuller moves into Young's position at inside halfback. Penalty flag, and this looks like a time count violation against Damon Allen.
You had Allen trying to audible at the line of scrimmage. Ottawa loaded up. They had 10 guys on the line of scrimmage.
Time count violation. Edmonton number 9, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
He was trying to make that audible, possibly get one of those hot routes called where you get that quick popper over the middle, and all you have to do is beat the safety after that.
It's a very simple read. When you have a blitzing linebacker, you have your hot read. Replace the blitzing linebacker in that spot, and it's the quarterback's responsibility to get the ball to that receiver.
2nd and 13 for the Eskimos. Damon Allen 2 weeks ago against Sacramento passed for 482 yards. Over the middle to Lucius Floyd, and Floyd draws a gang at the 45, but he's going to be very close to a first down. He was determined to try and get a first down out of the play when it looked as though he was going to be stopped about 4 yards short.
Well, Coach Lancaster has been very pleased with Floyd since he's come into this lineup. He picked this offense right away. But if you look at Allen, he recognized that hot route once again. Where the blitz came from, he sent Floyd. That linebacker was gone. He was able to pick it up.
Good quick read, quick release that time, and then he leaves it to Floyd and his mobility to get away from a few tackles and keep fighting and scrapping, trying to pick up that first down. Coach Lancaster said this guy was really good. He makes no mistakes out in the football field.
Yes, after being picked up off the Saskatchewan practice roster, Lucius Floyd picked things up very quickly. Damon Allen keeping on 3rd down and getting a first down. This is the 5th game for Lucius Floyd in an Edmonton uniform. He made his debut on September 10th against the Calgary Stampeders, and that was the night that the Edmonton Eskimos handed the Stampeders their only loss of the season.
He also scored 2 touchdowns in that game. It really gave him a big boost, along with this Edmonton offense. A back coming out of the backfield who can catch the football.
What I like about him, when he scores, he does a backflip.
Well, he gave Giz some competition on the acrobatics.
Gizmo on the receiving end of the throw, down to the 26-yard line. He got in behind Patrick Burke. That's a pretty tough test for a rookie on the corner trying to cope with the speed of Henry Williams.
They come to the trips formation to the right-hand side, and it gets Giz one-on-one with nothing but pasture and grass to work, and he does an excellent job of being able to get behind Burke. 38-yard gain on that play.
Very quickly, with Henry Williams, the Eskimos can move into scoring position. It is 1st and 10. The ball is at the 26-yard line. Williams again, the intended receiver, incomplete. That time, Patrick Burke stayed with him.
When you look at Williams, he's been the best specialty team player in the history of the CFL. He is still learning how to be a quality receiver. We saw him with the great reception and concentration on the previous play, trying to come back with him one-on-one versus Burke. Burke had great inside position on that particular play, though.
Gizmo's best game as a receiver was on August 25th against Hamilton when he hauled in 10 passes for 136 yards and 2 touchdowns. His 38-yard gain has put the Eskimos in this position. 2nd and 10 from the 26. Eddie Brown looking for it in the end zone. It's incomplete. He was being covered by Joe Fuller.
Well, Damon Allen held that one as long as he could before the pressure showed up. Ottawa's been getting closer and closer. You'll see Angelo Snipes come from the top on Allen and just buries him into this turf here this afternoon. But Allen is one of those quarterbacks who will take those hits and keep bouncing up.
Sean Fleming will be attempting a field goal of 34 yards with 2:46 remaining in the opening quarter and the clock running. A beautiful October afternoon in the Alberta capital. Fleming hooked it left, and it goes wide through the end zone for a single point. So the Eskimos are first on the board.
Labatt Ice Beer has arrived. This is a beer created by a truly new way of brewing. Ice brewing. Labatt Ice Beer. Uniquely rich in taste, yet uniquely easy to drink. Ultimately, the truth is clear as crystal. If it's not ice brewed, it's not ice beer.
If I was a senior citizen and was listening to Preston Manning, I would be very frightened for my security for the future.
We are going to have problems in our retirement, particularly if he attacks the Medicare and if he attacks the OAS. It's sort of romantic to be poor when you're young, but it's a pretty sad, desperate situation to be poor when you're old.
It's good seeing you again.
Yeah, it's been a while.
You look great. I'd forgotten what a great smile you have.
I take care of myself.
So,
coffee, sir?
Yes, please. So, are you seeing anyone?
Yeah, regularly.
Is it serious?
It is to me. We see each other every 6 months. My dentist. I'll give you the number.
Oh, it's okay. I'm seeing someone myself.
Make a date with your dentist. Take care of your smile.
2:33 remaining in the opening quarter. 1-0 Edmonton. Ottawa has it 1st and 10 from the 35. The Rough Riders have won just one game on the road this season, and that was in Toronto on August the 26th when Stefan Jones hauled in a touchdown toss from Tom Burgess in the final seconds for a 26-25 win. Terrence Jones, the starting quarterback. Jones flushed out of the pocket. Looks upfield, and this is going to be well short of the intended receiver, Stefan Jones.
Now Jones's mobility is becoming a hindrance to him. He has become impatient sitting back in the pocket. He is not that astute where he wants to sit back and read. He wants to try to run the ball, and that's becoming a hindrance to him.
Notice one thing on the sideline. There's number 39. There's Willie Pless on the side. They had to bring in Errol Martin at one outside linebacker. They've got Dixon in blue playing in the middle, also with Goods and Woods.
Well, they've already lost Larry Ruck. He did not dress for this game, and that would certainly hamper them defensively if Pless is out, although Woods is attempting to make up for the absence of Willie Pless. He and Benny Goods were both in on quarterback Terrence Jones.
Goods leads this team in sacks with 10 coming into the game, but great job of pressure picking up number 11 on the season. Edmonton has gone to the dime package defensively, which hinders Jones even more of recognizing the coverage. You'll see him here in the pocket. He just doesn't get set. Benny Goods with a great move up front gets in for his 11th sack.
It makes it some pretty easy shooting for these defensive players when they know that that quarterback is going to stay and where he can find him between the tackles. When he moves that pocket, he buys a little more time for himself.
Another end-over-end kick by Jock Climby, and it is going to bounce out of bounds without any opportunity for a return with 1:26 remaining in the opening quarter.
Don, the story on Willie Pless on the Eskimo bench is that in the first couple of minutes of the game, he had his bell rung, so he's waiting for the cobwebs to clear, but they're watching him very carefully because the same thing happened in Sacramento last week, and of course those kinds of injuries have a problem, or I should say have a habit of compounding themselves. So he looks fine and certainly aware, and there's every chance he will return to this ball game. But as you say, with Larry Ruck out, Willie Pless as well, that's a serious blow to the Eskimo defense.
Right now, though, the concern of the Eskimos is whether the offense can get in gear, and Lucius Floyd is dropped for a loss. Glenn Kulka got through to make the tackle on Floyd. That was kind of a strange play on the part of the Eskimos.
A delayed draw play on this particular play, and Glenn Kulka did a great job from his nose position reading it. Allen had gotten behind Floyd, tried to slip the ball into his belly as he went past him, but Kulka right there read the play perfectly for the big loss for the Ottawa defense.
All in all, as well as this defense has been playing, this is as aggressive a front seven as there is in this league.
Damon Allen throws deep for Eddie Brown. Goodbye. He
touchdown.
Eddie Brown, a speed merchant, came over in that big off-season trade from Toronto. Mainly a forgotten player in that trade, but he has really blossomed the past couple of games. 2 weeks ago in Sacramento, he had a career and season high of 218 yards and 3 touchdowns. Once again on the scoreboard.
And the touchdown is the 14th of the year for Eddie Brown. He's tied with David Williams of Winnipeg for the lead in that department. Williams with 3 last night in the victory over Sacramento. So both Brown and Williams have fattened their statistics against the Sacramento Gold Miners. 16 seconds remaining in the opening quarter as Sean Fleming adds the point after, and an 8-0 Edmonton lead. You know, you talk about the trade, the 8-for-8 swap involving Toronto and Edmonton. That may be one of the worst trades in history. 7 members of the Argonauts who came to Edmonton are playing. Only one is suiting up for Toronto, and that's Tracy Ham.
Well, this big one right here, you got the post route with Eddie Brown, who had got behind Joe Fuller. Gerald Wilcox victimized him repeatedly last week in the game in Ottawa, but Eddie Brown is running.
Talking about the worst trade, though, I think it just depends on which city you read in the paper. And Edmonton right now thinks that they got a pretty good trade out of the whole mess.
Well, when you look at the trade from the Toronto end, it cost a few people their jobs. They put all their eggs in one basket. Seemed like they dropped the carton on the floor, and a few of them got cracked.
Well, it certainly did. And when it put one of the best quarterbacks, I feel, in this league in a very tough situation of trying to run a run-and-shoot offense, and he was not a run-and-shoot offense type of quarterback.
I guess in all fairness to the Argos, you could say that they got 2 players out of it because they sent Chris Johnstone to Winnipeg for Warren Hudson.
Well, that's true, and Warren has been a stable force in that Argo offense all season long. They just have the wrong players in the wrong system at the start of the season.
Stanley waits for the ball at the 18-yard line. Stanley tried to split a seam at about the 35, but he's brought down by Brown at the 39-yard line, a 21-yard run back after a 67-yard kick. Stanley has speed. They have to try and get the ball into his hands.
Well, you like to see that when your kick returners just go straight ahead. You know, a lot of guys try to search out the wall, run across the field, but the pursuit in the CFL is so great. The players know what their lanes are, and if you can crack a seam, generally you only have the safety to beat.
Willie Pless remains on the Edmonton bench. This should be the final play of the opening quarter. The ball just shy of the 40-yard line. 8-0. Edmonton leads, and all sorts of movement at the line of scrimmage. Procedure against Michelle Lamy, the right guard who moved prematurely. Or any one of half a dozen other people.
Ottawa, number 66, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Well, it was almost like a wave motion when you look at the right side of that offensive line. They just rocked back. And all of a sudden, you know, you got to change your quarterback once again. This offensive line has to get used to the rhythm of his cadence when he's barking it out.
Saskatchewan had problems adjusting to Warren Jones last Sunday at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Reggie Barnes, the ball carrier, and Barnes fights his way back to the initial line of scrimmage. There was another penalty flag in the play, and it looks as though it could be an offside call against Edmonton.
I think it's going to be that they got him on that cadence call, and it'd be number 89. Leroy Blue tried to get the jump on Chris Beaton and give us a real good speed rush outside.
Offside, Edmonton number 89, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Well, we continue to scrimmage with no time remaining on the clock in the opening quarter because, of course, the quarter cannot end on a penalty, and we have had back-to-back penalty calls with time expired.
And you can't start the clock on a penalty situation. If it was a play, you would run it into the second quarter, but since it's a penalty, the play is dead.
Come on, 2 more out, baby, 2 more out.
I recall a game a few years back in Saskatchewan where there were about 4 plays at the end of the game with the clock stopped, enabled DC to win a football game. Sideline pass goes out of bounds, no penalty flags, and that is the final play of the opening quarter with Edmonton leading 8-0.
Hi, hon. Another stellar day for the self-employed?
Just when I seem to be getting ahead. More bills.
Your yellow pages are more than a collection of listings and ads. They represent the hopes and dreams of real people like Jan.
Yeah.
Hi, it's Jan from Locale Heroes.
Listen, I got 30 guys working through the night. My regular guy let me down.
Hot soup and subs, okay?
Hey, Jen, I have 3 more sites around town. Why don't you give me a call tomorrow? We'll chat.
Thanks.
Yellow Pages will always be there.
Even when the weather makes driving pretty wild, Michelin all-season radials offer you so much road handling control and long-lasting durability. It'll make your head spin. Expect more from Michelin all-season radials. Because so much is riding on your tires.
CBC Sports presents the CFL on CBC. Brought to you by Dodge Trucks, the most powerful line of trucks anywhere.
Well, I really opened up an old wound when I referred to the game at Taylor Field in Regina a couple of years ago when BC got 4 plays with the clock stopped to win a football game, didn't they?
That was a heck of a sequence, Don. I mean, we had an interference on one play with Glenn Suter hit David Williams 1 second to go. Next play, he threw the ball across field. Matt Dunnigan did to Williams. Albert Brown got an interference.
Hold on a minute. This is only a 3-hour-show.
Let me get my last 2 in.
I don't think we can go this far.
The next play,
we'll catch it on
fumbled.
video. We'll catch it on video.
Gary Lewis jumped offside. I remember this. It hurt so bad, you know.
And that all with the clock stopped. Time expired.
Time expired. They got 4 plays off and won the football game.
The only reason you remember it so well, it was the first time that you weren't involved in any of it.
Oh, okay. Like you saying, I had a penalty called on me in my career.
First and 10, our second and 10, Ottawa from the 39-yard line. Crefo makes the catch at midfield for an Ottawa first down. Let's take a look at the statistical story of the opening quarter. Ottawa had the ball 8:46, one sustained drive of almost 6 minutes, but the touchdown on a big play, 71 yards, Damon Allen to Eddie Brown, and 142 yards in offense for Edmonton, and an 8-0 first quarter lead.
Fellas, I just took a look. They're taking a good look at Ed Berry, the corner, also out. So that's Willie Press and Ed Berry, 2 starters.
But other players, when a player goes down, sometimes make up for their absence, and Jed Roberts did just that.
Excellent pressure up front by this Edmonton defense. They're so interchangeable player-wise. They rotate everyone around. They bring Roberts in, line him up the defensive end. He makes a good move inside, coming up underneath Giaskis and grabs Jones by the ankle and brings him down for the sack, his 7th of the season.
There's absolutely no doubt that the Edmonton defense is going to come at you. You're just not sure where they're going to come from.
Jed Roberts is usually the player who comes out when the Eskimos go to a 6 defensive back package, but with the injuries, he remains in there. Terrence Jones was looking to throw deep, couldn't find anybody. He runs, and with some excellent moves, he slides for a first down to the 35-yard line. Boy, he zigged and zagged a couple of times, and guys are still looking for him after that 25-yard run.
Well, that was an unwilling slide at the end of that run, but you see Jones, he's a little impatient in the pocket. He's apt to run. He wants to run the football, but he brings it down and does a great job weaving his way through, tries to make that last plant there, and his feet gives out on this soft turf in Edmonton.
He absolutely makes 2 defenders, one Dixon and one Wilson, look silly trying to make tackles as he just scooted around them.
Yeah, you want to redeem yourself on a situation like that.
Sean Daniels, the ball carrier, he'll pick up about 3 yards. Again, I referred to the comments you gentlemen made at the start of the telecast about the added dimension that Jones brings to the team because of his running ability.
He has picked up more yards running already in this game than what Ottawa normally picks up at the quarterback position. Tommy Burgess is not that fleet of foot. Warren Jones is not the better passer of the two. His efficiency rating is not that good. He needs to concentrate on throwing the football, though.
Even more importantly, is that he makes that offensive lineman's job a little easier.
Terrence Jones being flushed out of the pocket. Good play from Hunter as he came racing up from his linebacking position to drop Terrence Jones back at the 41-yard line.
Great pursuit by Hunter and this rest of the Edmonton defensive core. But when you look at Jones getting outside the pocket, his inexperience shows right here. Hunter is coming after him. You have to learn how to lose that ball in the stand somewhere and come back and line up while you're still in field goal position.
Well, this is going to be interesting. The first field goal attempt of his... No, they're not going to line up in field goal formation. Jock Climby is going to come in and punt the ball from midfield.
Jones cost him that critical field goal position by taking that big loss.
Thought we'd get to see Craig Duncan, but in the warm-up we noticed that he was having problems from anywhere outside about the 45, so they opted to punt instead.
Hey, mister, you want to play?
Yep. Emma?
I ain't getting that. He can get his own ball. Mister, don't you got a football game to go to?
A twin blade from Bic? What's in it for me?
I'm a big man. Big man.
This is new? A twin for normal skin and a twin for sensitive, right?
I'm a big man.
I'm a sensitive guy, right? So I tried it.
Big man.
It's good. It was great.
Big man.
The new Bic Twin Select. Normal, sensitive. It really blew me away. It made a big man out of me.
I'm a big man. Big man.
A big-time news photographer.
I don't believe we've actually had the...
Drawn to his small-town roots,
The one who didn't come home for his mother's funeral?
Harlan!
finds love.
You trying to kiss me?
Yes.
No, you try it.
But can he recapture his native spirits?
Stop.
Graham Greene. Tom Jackson. From writer Thomas King. Medicine River. 8 p.m. Sunday on CBC.
Well, on the Ottawa bench, Jock Climby, pressed into service for this game as a punter, says he feels a whole lot better about his kicking now that he's unleashed 4 punts. Watch him on this one, and took his time and got it away nicely. He did tell me a few moments ago, Don, that he was really nervous, with gusts up to scared at the start of the game. He said the last time he saw a rush like that was at Queens in 1989, the last time he kicked.
Well, he's had to handle a couple of bad snaps. 2 of them have bounced in front of him. Damon Allen throwing deep. He had both Jay Christensen and Eddie Brown in the same area, and the ball landed between them. Damon Allen, when he tried to set up in the end zone, slipped and almost went down.
Well, you get that situation where Allen came back. The footing right here, as you see him plant that right foot, just gives out away from him. But you have 2 receivers in the same area, and it was a fear of them running into each other that neither one of them would take the chance of going after the football.
Last night we saw, in an almost similar situation, a really unfortunate injury to Matt Dunnigan, who is having an all-star season for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, tearing his Achilles tendon, and he's gone for the year. A most unfortunate injury, not only for Dunnigan, but also for Winnipeg. That happens when you sometimes try and set up and you slip. This is the gizmo, and will anybody catch him?
Not a chance.
Well, after running 102 yards, I guess the gizmo is a little too tired to do a backflip in the end zone. But what a play. Damon Allen hitting Henry the Gizmo Williams for a 102-yard touchdown.
Well, you get that hot route right here, and you get the gears coming inside to give him too much room, but you get the safety moving out of the middle to step to the outside, and Trudell made that cardinal sin of moving out, and there was no one left in the middle of the field. There was just a foot race, and Patrick Burton did not have a chance.
You have to feel as easily as Joe Merrill allowed Gibbs to go down inside, that Joe, the guy in the corner, must have felt that he was going to have help from the inside. There was no help there. It turns into a big score.
I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all
introducing our biggest, brightest RCA home theater system. TVs, VCRs, and camcorders. The choice of the enlightened.
Hi, hon. Another stellar day for the self-employed?
Just when I seem to be getting ahead. More bills.
Your Yellow Pages are more than a collection of listings and ads. They represent the hopes and dreams of real people like Jan.
Yeah.
Hi, it's Jan from Locale Heroes.
Listen, I got 30 guys working through the night. My regular guy let me down.
Hot soup and subs okay?
Hey, Jan, I have 3 more sites around town. Why don't you give me a call tomorrow? We'll chat.
Thanks.
Yellow Pages will always be there.
Even when the weather makes driving pretty wild, Michelin all-season radials offer you so much road handling control and long-lasting durability. It'll make your head spin. Expect more from Michelin all-season radials. Because so much is riding on your tires.
Henry Williams, 102 yards, the longest touchdown pass of his career. And let's take another look at it.
Well, he was released inside by Merrill. Trudell was supposed to come get him over the top, but he lost sight of him, and he overran the play, and it was just off to the races. And the Giz, not too many people are going to catch him.
Patrick Burke made a valiant effort, but to no avail.
The kickoff goes out of bounds, and I'm sure Ottawa will ask Edmonton to re-kick. Boy, impressive numbers posted in the first half by Damon Allen. 4 completions for 223 yards.
This is a really good thing about the Edmonton Eskimos. The Edmonton defense had really held this team together for a number of games in this season. Now when the defense has some problems, the loss of Ruck, the loss of Pless, the loss of Barry right now, the offense is taking charge and going in and scoring some points.
Well, you speak about Damon's 223 yards, Don. I guess he wasn't satisfied with his 482 2 weeks ago, and he's on that record pace right now to eclipse that number that he had set before. But Damon has taken what Ottawa has given him off defensively. He has not tried to go deep. He has gone and took the quick routes and let his receivers run with the football.
Well, Damon has not had a great year. He's only passed for 2,642 yards coming into this game. This is Stanley on the kickoff return, and Stanley is taken down heavily by Fleming at the 48-yard line, an 18-yard return after a 50-yard kickoff.
You know, we had that talk yesterday about great years with Coach Lancaster, and when you look at Damon's efficiency rating, he ranks number 2 in the league efficiency behind Doug Flutie. So numbers are not always conducive to what a quarterback is doing for his team. He has showed leadership ability. He has his team in 2nd place in the West. That is the key. He has not panicked. He has gotten the job done since coming back to Edmonton this year.
Well, he doesn't quite have them in 2nd place yet, but with a 15-0 lead, he's got a pretty good chance of moving into a tie with the BC Lions. Joseph runs into a wall at the line of scrimmage, tried to bounce it to the outside, and he's brought down by Hunter at the 50-yard line.
Errol Martin does an excellent job of stuffing Michelle Lammy right back into the backfield. Lammy almost makes the tackle, boom, right into the back, and makes Joseph have to jump outside, and then Hunter does a great job of pursuit. This Edmonton defense will get after you. They've got great team speed.
You expect those big offensive linemen to be able to move a linebacker when he gets to the line of scrimmage.
On 2nd down from the 50, incomplete. It was intended for Stephan Jones, and Ed Berry back in the ball game knocked it down.
Great play on that by Berry. That's what you expect from your defensive backs. He's another one of those players that came in that large trade. They felt he was the best guy that they got defensively in that trade. You see him working one-on-one. Great break on the ball, getting that right hand inside of Jones, batting that one away at the last moment.
Talking about that trade, Bruce Dixon, Don Wilson, Ed Berry, and Eddie Brown all starting. Johnson, Esquerdo, and Foggy all backing up. Darrell K. Smith started the year with Edmonton and then was cut. The ball is loose. Don Wilson blocked it, and it's recovered by Ed Berry.
Jack Climbey has been taking an over amount of time. Every time they get it, he takes one big step right up front, And then Don Wilson's coming off the right-hand corner, comes scot-free, makes a great angle of getting in front of Climbing, lays out in front of the ball, boom, makes the block. But that's due to Climbing taking so much time trying to get rid of the football.
Not having a rhythm, but Don Wilson, being the veteran, knowing where the block point is, not going for the kicker, but where the ball's trajectory is going to be, and he made a perfect block.
Damon Allen going for broke again. It's intercepted. Picked off by safety Remy Trudell. And Trudell goes down at the 4-yard line. Eddie Brown appeared to be open in the end zone.
Well, Trudell able to atone for an earlier mistake on that last series where he had vacated the middle and was coming up top to cover the gears. That time he stayed at home. Brown trying to run the seam route. Damon Allen did not see him in the middle, and you'll see him just lay it out. Trudell playing a perfect center field, coming across, making the interception at his highest point, bringing it back out of the end zone to the 4-yard line.
The one thing that Damon was at fault there, again, was when he lobbed the ball, but also when he came back, he looked to his left very quickly, but he didn't give a solid enough look to try to get Trudell to favor that side and then come back to the weak side inside on the slot.
Got to freeze the safety when you have him playing center field. Like you said, Dan, if you keep him locked to the left side, then come with your throwback, you can get that pass behind him.
Darren Joseph, the ball carrier, he picks up a couple of yards. Give him 3, make it 2nd and 7.
And give credit to Remy Trudell because he is a very active safety. They bring him up, they blitz him, he plays as a poaching, and then all of a sudden he faked them out, and he caught Damon Allen doing the bad read, and all of a sudden he's playing center field and comes up with the big pick.
And that probably was Damon's first bad pass of the afternoon.
Jones has only been able to pass for 30 yards thus far. And he threw that to an open area. He's lucky that he didn't get a flag for throwing it away because there was nobody there.
He threw it to the open area on that sequence, but earlier when they were in field goal position, he didn't do that. He cost them valuable yardage on the play. You see Leroy Blue coming in, Sean Daniels getting the block, but Hunter coming up with that contained pursuit late, forcing Jones to throw the ball away.
Terrence Jones has been effective as a runner, but not as a passer.
You know, and how long do you stay with this situation? You have a Tommy Burgess on the sideline. You know he's a proven passer. Do you bring him in since the team has been struggling with Jones at quarterback?
Larry Mueller points out that the Gizmo touchdown was an Edmonton team record, 102 yards. The Gizmo has it again on the sidelines. He manages to stay in bounds, and down he goes at the 48. 7:31 remaining in the first half. The Eskimos lead by 15.
LensCrafters is offering an incredible 50% off all frames. That's right. Choose any pair of frames from LensCrafters' entire selection. Get 50% off and still get your glasses in about an hour.
Save 50% on all frames at LensCrafters. Don't miss it.
Many you'll never meet.
Bill Hughes, mechanic.
Some you may remember, or making a difference on your last trip.
Lorna Fraser, flight attendant.
But the one thing the over 17,000 men and women of Canadian Airlines have in common
Kelly Shaw, maintenance.
is the shared belief that you have the right to a choice of airline.
Joe Harmon, welder.
And they're doing everything they can to make sure you do.
Good morning, Wendy's. Monterey Ranch chicken sandwich. You wanted that?
Hi, Gladys.
Good morning. The phone's been ringing off the hook.
What's this?
Monterey Ranch. Monterey Ranch, Monterey Ranch, Monterey...
I'm sorry I asked.
It's back. Creamy ranch dressing with real bacon and Monterey Jack processed cheese on a breaded seasoned chicken breast.
Where you going, buddy?
Inside, I'm Dave Thomas.
Right, and I'm the Queen of France. Back in the line.
Come try Wendy's Monterey Ranch chicken sandwich, but come early.
LensCrafters is offering an incredible 50% off all frames. That's right. Choose any pair of frames from LensCrafters' entire selection. Get 50% off and still get your glasses in about an hour.
Save 50% on all frames at LensCrafters. Don't miss it.
They're just now helping the Gizmo off the field at Commonwealth Stadium. You know, football players live and die by their 40 times, and the Giz, having turned in a 102-yard touchdown play today, tells me he's very happy with his. Patrick Burke was on the dead run from the Ottawa defense, could not catch the Gizmo. Now, Burke is fast. The riders say he's been timed at about a 4.340. Don, the Giz says, I'm 4.189, so there was no chance that Patrick Burke was going to catch me. These 40 times are getting out of hand. I'm waiting for someone to run the 3.9 and the 3.8. When's that going to happen?
So you're saying that Giz was timing himself running that 40, huh?
Lucius Floyd brought down at the line of scrimmage. Well, the Giz is really a character. Yesterday, when we were in the Edmonton dressing room, all the players were sitting, waiting for Giz to come back from an interview. And Damon Allen said, watch his locker. As we see Giz on this punt return, they had taken all their jackets and hung them in the Gizmo's locker. And Don Wilson is saying, come on, Giz, hurry up, we've got to get going. And he walked over to his locker, still hadn't noticed all the jackets, and then saw the mess in his locker. It took him about 20 minutes to unload all the jackets. Damon Allen is brought down. Good tackle by Ron Getz.
Damon Allen brought down by once again, Allen's footing given away on him. He's planting very hard with his right foot as he gets back in the pocket, and that right foot is slipping out in this turf. Late in the year, it gets kind of slick here in Edmonton. You'll see his right foot right there as he tries to push off, and Getz is able to get to him for the sack.
One of only 2 natural grass fields in the CFL, the other Hornet Field in Sacramento. But the Eskimos don't have the luxury of ever getting to practice on this field.
But that one in Sacramento doesn't freeze either.
You had to bring that up, didn't you? Excellent kick by Harper. Stanley waits for it back at the 5. Trent Brown downfield to make the tackle. The ball came loose, and then some pushing and shoving, but the play had been whistled dead.
Somebody heard that you guys aren't doing the camera thing anymore, so he's looking for TV.
Well, live at the half, we'll get reaction on the season-ending injury suffered by Winnipeg's Matt Dunnigan last night, an injury that has changed the complexion of the playoffs and the Grey Cup favorite matchup, I'd say. We'll go to Calgary to talk to Wally Buono about how he feels about the playoff format in the West. Doesn't feel very good right now, I can tell you that. And we'll see how football has paid off for the Lancaster family, at least 2 generations of it, Don.
All that coming up live at the half. Stephan Jones on the receiving end of the throw, taking it out of bounds at the 16-yard line. Last night, Matt Dunnigan with 2 touchdown passes, a Winnipeg club record of 36 for the year, and he was definitely in position to break Peter List's CFL record of 40 set back in 1967. A really tough blow for Matt and the Bombers.
Just one of those devastating injuries. And Matt probably, when you look at it right now, was the most valuable player in the CFL at this point in the season because of what he had done for his team, what he meant to the Bombers, being healthy all year. And now that old adage that he was the glass quarterback might be labeled on him again, but that was just one of those non-contact injuries. It was just misfortune for Matt Dunnigan.
James Ellingson on the receiving end of the throw up to the 30-yard line. Yeah, I think over recent weeks, some people were beginning to think when it came to MVP honors that maybe it would be Matt Dunnigan rather than Doug Flutie.
What he meant to his team, I mean, that intangible, you just couldn't take it away. That leadership, that aggression, he had it all.
Fine throw by Stanley, or by Jones to Stanley, and it carries down to the 25-yard line. A 57-yard gain. There was a penalty flag, but it's against Edmonton, offside.
Decline.
Stanley does an excellent job of getting off. It's just a straight street route, and all of a sudden he turns Damian Lyons all around. But the thing is that the throw is right there on the money in perfect stride, and also that Terrence Jones had enough time to release that ball.
And you talk about speed, looked like Stanley was displaying a little bit right there at the end. You saw Lyons grabbing on, trying to go for a ride with him.
He must have heard you guys talking about those 4.4 speeds.
From the 25, 1st and 10, draw play with Reggie Barnes. And Barnes will have a gain of about 8. I know you've been a supporter of Barnes, James. You feel that the Rough Riders should have had him in the lineup most of the year.
I think they made a critical error at the start of the season not having a Reggie Barnes in the lineup. This was a guy who had been the leading rusher in the CFL over the 3 years that he had been involved in the game. And they missed him in some critical games when they needed to control the clock and pick up some first downs.
Well, I'm going to correct you in one point. Leading rusher in Ottawa, not in the CFL.
All right, Don, you've been around.
Don Wilson knocked it down.
I said one. I didn't say the. I said one of them.
Wilson, had he been able to hang on to that football, was long gone, I think. 43 career interceptions for Don Wilson, and you don't often see many slip out of his hands like that. Tom Burgess and Markel Fleetwood doing some work on the sidelines, along with assistant coach John Salavandis.
Charting the plays of what Jones has done productivity-wise so far. Now they're going to have to settle for their first field goal attempt of the game.
Craig Duncan, his first CFL field goal attempt. The kick is up. It's wide. In the end zone, the Gizmo indicated initially that he would concede a single point, and finally he does step out of the back of the end zone. So with 3:48 remaining in the first half, it's now 15-1, Edmonton leading. We said that Duncan was having some problems when we watched him in the pregame warm-up, hitting anything from much more than 40 yards, and I'm sure the young man very nervous coming into this situation as well.
Well, he's got to be very nervous, but I think a good point about him is that he has the opportunity that he can come in and he can practice every day and with these guys and get an opportunity to try to get better as a kicker.
Well, he kicked for the Nepean Norsemen and the Ottawa Sooners before heading down to Murray State in Oklahoma. He was down in Atlanta and out of football when the Ottawa Rough Riders called. Sideline pass to Butler. This is only the second game for Butler in an Edmonton uniform. He played against Sacramento, but they didn't get the ball to him. They're anxious to see what he can do.
Well, you like what Patrick Burke did coming up from his cornerback position. You like to see a defensive back with that nasty streak in him. Butler does a quick stop route that time. Patrick Burke comes up, climbs all over him, slams him to the turf.
Patrick Burke, as a rookie on the corner, is not lacking any confidence whatsoever playing out there on the island.
Michael Souls met head-on at the line of scrimmage by Ron Getz. 2:47 remaining in the half, and the Eskimos will be sending out their punting unit.
Coming up in the half.
That's the house I grew up in. I'm still there, too. Blackie. Good name, huh? Oh, that's me. The Cisco Kid. Oh, I could ride that thing for hours. Oh, okay, well, sometimes he threw me. I like that home. Maybe that's why I went into real estate. Back then, I learned when to hang on and when to hang on. Help.
Announcing UAP Napa's Fall Fever Sale event. From October 1st through 31st, our prices will be falling faster than the leaves on the trees. Here's just a few of the specials you'll find. UAP Napa Antifreeze, 4 liters, $4.49. And starting fluid, just $1.49. And enter to win a Grey Cup weekend for 2 from UAP Napa and CBC Sports. So hurry into your UAP Napa store today before these deals are gone.
The next 649 jackpot is estimated at a colossal $10 million.
A beautiful afternoon in Edmonton. The Eskimos lead Ottawa by a score of 15-1 with 2:47 remaining in the opening quarter. Glenn Harper stands back at his own 27-yard line for this third down punt. Walter Stanley, the lone man back. We said earlier that the Ottawa Rough Riders wanted to get the ball into Stanley's hands because of his speed. He handles both punts and kickoffs, and they did a pretty good job on a 57-yard pass play to get him open downfield. He won't get an opportunity to return this one, as Harper did a good job of angling it towards the sidelines.
anytime that you have a punt returner as like the Gizmo or a Stanley that is a real threat, it is a real challenge for those coverage guys to get down, and they take it as a personal challenge to try to cover these guys, shut them down for no return whatsoever. And at this point, Edmonton's doing a pretty good job against Stanley.
Well, what Harper did exceptionally well was angling that ball into the sideline so he could limit the space that Stanley had to operate in.
Jones has completed 50% of his passes. He throws incomplete.
Leroy Blue ran right through Jock Climby on it, but he exploded. When Climby made contact with that football, Blue made contact with him, and it was a separation at that point.
Now, there's another problem that Jock Climby is going to have. Running downfield on a pass pattern, taking a hit like that, and then coming back and trying to settle down and relax in a punting situation.
A lot of wear and tear on the legs as the game goes on. You run that 15-yard pass pattern, then you got to run back another 30 yards to get in punt position.
2nd and 10, the ball at the 30-yard line. 4 receivers left. Deep down the sidelines, intended for Stephan Jones. Jones was being bumped as he tried to get into his pattern, and Terrence couldn't get it to him.
All-out blitz coming by Edmonton that time. They were sending everybody. Bruce Dixon was coming up the middle. Also, Murphy, the safety, was coming inside, and it really created a situation where Terrence Jones just had to turn and release the ball. He was throwing it up as a Hail Mary and hoping that someone could run underneath it. No go.
And you spoke about Jock Climby having to come back after running those pass routes. Here's the situation once again. He just ran a deep 30-yard route. Now he has to come back in punt formation. This might not be that good of a kick.
He's already had one blocked. Well, you called it, James. He didn't get much on that when it goes out of bounds at the 45-yard line.
Well, Don, say one thing for Jock Climby in that punt. It was a lovely spiral, but straight into the Edmonton bench area. Here's an update on Willie Pless. They thought he might be able to return in the first half, but they've taken him to the Eskimo locker room to have a closer look at him. The problem, of course, the shot he took to the head early in the ball game, so it's unclear right now if he'll return. The good news, I guess, is that the Eskimo offense is getting it done for them, so they've been able to suffer losses like that on defense to this point anyway.
Damon Allen going for another home run throw for Brown. Incomplete. He almost got his hands on it. James, you talked about his performance against Sacramento 2 weeks ago. 3 touchdowns, 218 yards. That earned him Offensive Player of the Week honors in the CFL.
Well, just a great pass thrown by quarterback Damon Allen. He sit back in his pocket. His offensive line is doing a marvelous job of protecting him with all the blitz from Edmonton, Ottawa that they're bringing defensively. But the time, they're the perfect spiral. Brown on that fly route, getting behind Fuller. Treadell coming across once again to break that up just at the last instant. Treadell right there trying to serve notice to Brown. Hey, you can't run past me today.
Quickly inside, intended for Lucius Floyd. And it's 2 and out for the Edmonton Eskimos. Damon Allen basically takes the game plan and works it himself during the course of an afternoon. Ron Lancaster said, Damon is familiar with what we're attempting to do. We let him call the plays. He's the one who has to make the read at the line of scrimmage and make the decision.
Well, the onus falls on him, and he likes to be in that position. They give him some criteria of what he can take into a game, what they would like to see him call in certain situations. But once it's there, it's his audible, it's his call, it's his read, so therefore he gets the command of it.
Harper rushed a little. His kick is taken by Drawhorn. Drawhorn got a great block from Angelo Snipes and is able to return the ball up to the 44-yard line.
Well, a great job of getting to the wall by Drawhorn, who has been Ottawa's leading punt returner this year, averaging only 6.3 yards a punt return, but getting that great block there from Angelo Snipes as he gets to the corner and finds his wall, puts him in decent field position to start this drive, and that's his longest punt return of the year, 27 yards.
When you got guys back there like Drawhorn and Stanley that they feel can return the ball and get good field position, that makes those return guys get an extra block. They work a little harder to make their blocks.
Only 1:46 remaining in the half. 1st and 10, the ball is at the 44-yard line. 4 receivers right, draw play with Reggie Barnes. Barnes, and Barnes with a good haul. He carries to the 49 of the Eskimos.
Reggie Barnes making his presence felt in the lineup coming into this game with a 17-yard run right there. He had gained 3,672 yards in his Ottawa career. There you see him picking up the block by Graybill. That's what Barnes does so well, is read the block of his offensive lineman.
And when you have a very aggressive defense like that, when they're blitzing, all you have to do is break the initial point of attack, and you're running straight to the safety.
Hand off to Sean Daniels. He's got a big haul. That quick opener carries down to the 28-yard line.
You can see right now that Ottawa is really taking advantage of Larry Ruck and Willie Pless being out of the middle. Those are two of the most active linebackers in this league. They do an excellent job of patrolling inside. So they've got a couple of guys that don't have playing experience and are maybe playing out of position, trying to cover up for two very solid veteran ball players.
And you got two horses in the backfield for Ottawa running against them.
From the 29, Jones looking to put it in the air. Can't find anybody. Now dumps it off, and Rob Crefo on the sidelines will have a gain of about 8 yards.
You know, I like what Rob Crefo did in that play. He saw that his quarterback was in trouble. He worked back to Jones as Jones stretched the defense out to the right, was able to find time, picked up a good block from Daniels and Barnes as he found the time. But Crefo sees his quarterback, works back to him, picks up 8 yards on the play. And you spoke about it earlier, Don. He's a big target, 6'6", and they were happy to get him from Winnipeg late in the season.
2nd and 2, Ottawa. Hand off to Sean Daniels. He's down to the 11-yard line. 37 seconds remaining in the half.
Well, you mentioned about they were happy to get him. Not as happy as he was to get out of Winnipeg, only because of the Juro act that was going over there. Those two inside slot backs are having phenomenal years. Along that was getting thrown by Matt Dunnigan, and they were just tremendous. So he wasn't getting a lot of playing time.
Well, he's like any competitor. You want that opportunity to play.
Well, Jones has to get this offense moving because the clock is running. And he's already taken up 10 seconds from getting this play underway. Fumbled by Sean Daniels. Edmonton has got it. Leroy Blue comes up with it.
Like you said, he needed to get the play underway. He came up taking his time, very lax in coming up to the line of scrimmage. You're in an urgency for time. You see Jones right here stepping back, getting the ball to Daniels. Not a clean handoff right there. Daniels could not find it on the ground. Leroy Blue with the big turnover.
My, oh my, I think of the number of times we've seen Ottawa really self-destruct in the dying seconds of a half or at the end of a ball game this season.
Last week against Winnipeg, a shotgun situation in a 3rd down and 1 instead of coming up under center cost the team turnover on downs.
And right now, Damon Allen is quite happy to take a knee and try and take those final seconds off the clock. It would have been such a boost for the Rough Riders had they been able to put points on the board, even if they kicked a field goal and reduced the deficit to 11 points going to the dressing room.
Well, you go in with some type of positive attitude. Now you go in there dejected about what had happened, but now it's up to the veterans in that locker room to try to change the momentum, keep them on a positive note, because they have played pretty solid football in this first half.
Well, the first 30 minutes, much more representative of the way the Eskimos usually play at home. Stand by now for Live at the Half. Back at Commonwealth Stadium, welcome to Live at the Half. There was a major story in last night's Winnipeg-Sacramento game. It was the price the Bombers paid to get their 12th win of the season. It had been another good night for Matt Dunnigan at Winnipeg Stadium. He set a club record for touchdown throws in his season. But then on an innocent-looking play, Dunnigan back to pass. He tries to plant his foot, and he tears his Achilles tendon. There went his season. A despondent Dunnigan was taken from the field, and he may have taken the Bombers' Grey Cup hopes with him. 173 as he leaves the game in the cart.
Well, it is a big loss to the football team. There's no question about it. I think it's something that, you know, those things happen. There's not much you can do about it. I mean, it happened. He didn't even get hit.
God ain't going to give you nothing you can't handle. So, you know, it's disappointing. I'm disappointed, sure, but you know, I can handle this, and so can the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. You know, they'll rally around Sammy and Tommy, and I told Keith McCant when he was in the locker room, I said, suit up, big guy. But no, I don't ask why me. I'm disappointed, but I'm thankful for the year that I've had, and I'm just going to have to rally. You know, guys going to have to rally. I know they will.
Dunnigan, consoled by his wife Kathy, is scheduled to undergo surgery to reattach the Achilles tendon on Monday. The Bombers were favored to advance to the Grey Cup game. Now Dunnigan's out, and all bets are off. Well, what of the latest CFL player controversy, or I should say playoff controversy? Most people have been assuming that 4 teams will make the playoffs in the West. There'll be 2 semifinals, first against fourth, second against third. But that was according to a vote taken back in August, and here is the rub. That was an informal vote. The Players Association is to vote to formally ratify this new plan sometime this week. The first-place Calgary Stampeders, who will not, according to this new plan, get a bye into the division final, have lobbied heavily and are hopeful the plan will be thrown out. This means the league isn't sure how many teams will make the playoffs in the West. Earlier today, we spoke to Stampeder head coach and general manager Wally Buono in Calgary. Wally, tell me, are you honestly expecting that your team will have to play a semifinal on November 14th, or do you think it's possible this plan will be rejected and you'll get a bye into the final?
Well, to be quite frank with you, I'm really a little bit confused. The thing I am happy about, though, is the fact that there is going to be a revote, and whatever that revote is, our team's going to stand by, and if that means we got to play 2 games, we'll do that. If that means we'll get the bye, then we'll be happy about that, too.
I think everybody would agree, Wally, that sometimes the CFL, with the way it does business, has to be saved from itself. Would this not be one of those occasions where it might be best to go along quietly and just play the game?
Well, again, sometimes that seems to be the best solution, but, you know, for our players and our team, they just didn't feel that the vote was done properly, and that's why they fought for it. I've said this publicly, and I'll say it again. I don't think it's wrong for a man to stand up for what he believes, and sometimes you got to take some criticism, and I think we've done that.
But you will stand by the results of the vote this week?
Definitely right. If the players vote and they say that the format has changed, then we will stand by that, and that means we have to play 2 games. We'll be happy to do that.
Wally, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Eskimos are assuming that if they finish 4th, they'll be in the playoffs, but whichever team winds up 4th won't know for sure until next week. When Live at the Half returns, we'll spend some time with the Lancasters.
Labatt Ice Beer has arrived. This is a beer created by a truly new way of brewing. Ice brewing. Labatt Ice Beer. Uniquely rich in taste, yet uniquely easy to drink. Ultimately, the truth is clear as crystal. If it's not ice brewed, it's not ice beer.
Hey, mister, you want to play?
Yep.
Emma?
I ain't getting that. He get his own ball. Mister, don't you got a football game to go to?
Is your cold medicine right or wrong for you? When you get a cold, you can always stay home from work. Wrong. Most cold medicines will last you through the whole workday. Wrong. Many only last 4 hours. Is that long enough for you? Wrong. One Contact C will get you through the whole workday. Right. Contact C gives you 12 hours of timed-release medicine relieving congestion, sneezing, and watery eyes. Right. There's a whole day's work in every Contact C. Right.
We just had a call from a listener about a problem on Highway 1, and I can see we have traffic pretty much at a standstill.
All right, the eye in the sky, seeing everything. I got a listener on the line who may let us know what's going on. Hello?
Hi.
Hi, who's on my phone?
Kirsten.
Hi, Kirsten. I understand you're on Highway 1 right now. Can you tell us what's going on?
Yeah, some concrete blocks fell off the back of a truck, and they're too heavy to drag off the road.
Oh,
you listen to us because we listen to you. CKNW 98, BC's most listened to and talked to radio station.
He is the head of Canada's first family of football, a father and 2 sons for whom the game is everything. The father of one of the greatest ever to play the game. They called him the Little General. Son number 1, a head coach in Canadian university football. And son number 2, just now wrapping up a 5-year university career.
I kept them busy. They enjoyed it. They had fun with it. I just wanted them to play sports because I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned in it as you're growing up, but basically just to enjoy it and have fun.
We've enjoyed a lot of success from the entire family. Bobby, a great career. Certainly things have worked out just perfectly in my kind of map of where I wanted my career to go. It went to the T. Each and every one of us along the way has had a lot of fun doing it and had a lot of fun doing it together as a family.
And I think we're all better for it just from the, as you know, a lot of friends and character builder and just discipline-wise and stuff like that. So he never pushed it, but he liked it.
Ron Sr.'s playing career was one of the most distinguished in CFL history. It lasted 19 years. There were records and a lot of wins with Saskatchewan. And Ron Jr. knew before he began he wouldn't be able to match his father's exploits.
I certainly didn't inherit his height, being 6 foot, although some people say I'm not. I was officially measured at 6 feet. Bobby probably has his height. I guess the only thing I didn't inherit from him was the ability to throw interceptions, and I did it quite well, and I think he's proud.
In fact, Ron Jr. played briefly and threw a lot of interceptions in half a season for the Regina Rams. He wisely decided to head for coaching, where he's already got pro experience with Toronto, and last spring he beat a long list of candidates to land the top job at the University of Manitoba. Bobby's playing career has lasted a whole lot longer. He's had 3 years at Acadia and the last 2 with the University of Alberta Golden Bears. He has been constantly compared to his father.
When I was at Acadia in Wolfville, Nova Scotia, people knew who Ron Lancaster was. Not to the extent of actual people when you go to a restaurant knowing my dad's numbers and stuff like that. So there's always a comparison here, always.
Bobby's been forced to admit he will not carry on the family tradition and play pro ball. In fact, this year he lost his starting job with the Golden Bears.
There's always somewhere for you to go when you're 12, 15, 18, 19, But I have no more years left, so I can't come back here. And professional football, that's a whole different story. So I think that comes with everyone their 5th year.
Bobby has suffered through constant and sometimes unfair comparisons to his father, but the Lancasters are a strong family, and clearly it doesn't matter if either son lives up to his father's exploits.
I guess you'd sum it up as you got 2 guys who are coming into a situation of a father who had the success that he did. We took our knocks, we took the labels, lived through it, had success, had fun, and hung together.
And the Lancasters have the stands covered as well. There's Ron's wife, Bev, with their daughter, Lana, Lana's son, Mark, and early returns suggest that Mark, at 4 years old, will be a better athlete than Ron Sr., Jr., and Bobby combined. Don, there have been games this year in which Mark could have cracked the Eskimo lineup, but not the first half of this one, wouldn't you agree?
Yes, and we have to credit Mark, the son-in-law Larry, for nicknaming Ron Lancaster Digger.
Digger. What a name.
Anyway, in the first half of the ball game, some interesting speed on the part of the Edmonton Eskimos. Big plays, putting them in a 15-1 lead.
Absolutely was. I mean, I think he came out and Damon Allen started off by setting the tempo, knowing that they were going to try to take advantage on the inside of the halfbacks where Ottawa had to make some changes, and he went really, really deep with Eddie Brown. And when he did, he had plenty of time to throw the ball, airs the ball out, and Brown is just throwing, and he's on a hot streak. Three touchdowns 2 weeks ago, a touchdown early in this first half, and when he's got that kind of confidence, he's hard to stop.
And it's pretty tough to stop a guy like the Gizmo, 102 yards for a touchdown.
He's been very explosive in the first half, specialty teams as well as a receiver. The big 102-yard reception for the touchdown really got this team with the lead that they wanted to settle in and do some things that they wanted to operate with in this second half.
Second half just about to get underway with Edmonton leading 15-1. Scott?
Well, Don, to the first half of this game, the Eskimos took advantage of home field. It's an upbeat mood on a gorgeous day here at Commonwealth Stadium with 30 minutes to go. The second half is next.
There are some things parents will never hear.
Would it be okay if I went to bed early tonight?
Things that would be too good to be true.
Would anyone mind if I vacuum the stairs?
Luckily, some things are good and true, like the McDonald's family-sized pepperoni pizza.
Smothered in cheese and pepperoni for only $5.99 or 2 for $10. Every day.
No dessert for me, Mom. I don't deserve it.
A family-sized pepperoni pizza. It's a parent's dream come true.
Introducing the new 1994 Acura Integra Sports Coupe and Sports Sedan. Not since Hot Wheels have cars been this fun. Track sold separately.
Over and over again, people ask me what I believe in. It's very simple. I believe in the people of Canada. I believe in the rights to dignity and security. I believe that they should go to bed at night without worrying whether or not they will have a job in the morning, whether or not their children will have a future. I believe in my plan. I believe in my people. I believe we will make a difference.
His grandmother ran the Kentucky Derby. His father outraced the best in Europe. Now it's his turn. His speed is proven. His strength established. Now he'll compete against the world's best thoroughbreds in Canada's richest race on turf. He'll need more than speed and strength to win. He'll need heart. The Rothmans Limited International, Sunday, October 17th, the race of a lifetime.
The Eskimos leading 15-1 will get the football to start the second half as Craig Duncan prepares to kick off. It bounces to Lucius Floyd at the 27-yard line, and he takes the ball up to the 44. Well, statistically, if you take away the two big plays from the Eskimos, 71 yards to Brown and 102 yards to Williams, their offense only produced 53 yards in the first half. So it was definitely a big play half for the Edmonton Eskimos in compiling their 15-1 lead.
Well, those big plays sometimes set a precedence for the things that you can do, and the Eskimos were able to complete a couple of those, and that's why they had the 15-1 lead at halftime.
Snipes was blitzing, and he was able to get to Lucius Floyd almost the instant he took the handoff from Damon Allen.
That's what happens when you gamble defensively. You get the opportunities to make plays like that.
Well, Damon Allen only completed 5 passes in the opening half, the two big ones to Brown and Williams. 2nd and 16, a loss of 6. Again, here comes the pressure this time. Damon Allen moves the pocket for Jay Christensen. First down at the 47. Taken out of bounds by Patrick Burke, but Jay Christensen, the Okanagan Sun product, found the hole.
Well, Jay Christensen is one of those big angler receivers. You see Damon Allen buying himself time, rolling to the left, out of the pocket. Christensen finds that soft spot, sets down in front of Burke in that zone, and picks up that big first down, getting down to the 46-yard line.
He has yet to score a touchdown this season for the Eskimos. 1st and 10 from the 47. Snipes coming on the blitz. They picked him up. Damon Allen is going to be called for throwing it away.
I think Damon lost track of where he was. In the NFL, quarterbacks are allowed to do that. In the CFL, that is a penalty. There was no receiver anywhere within the lines of Damon Allen. He had no chance of completing that one.
And if you take a good look at this, when he tries to run this counter handoff inside, Michael Souls and Lucius Floyd are both going at the same hole.
No traction on the play. There was a receiver there. Be 2nd down.
Well, they ruled there was a receiver there.
Take a look. There's a mix-up in the backfield of Edmonton, and that forces Damon to have to get out.
Well, the official was kind of correct. There was a receiver. I mean, there was a sea of green Edmonton Eskimo jerseys on that side of the field. So
Damian Lyons.
There was somebody hidden in there that could have been a receiver.
There was a legal number in that group somewhere.
I think Edmonton just got away with one. That you better snap it quickly before they get another chance to think about this.
Out of the shotgun, Damon Allen stands at the 52, throws to the sideline. Christensen had to go high, but he couldn't haul it in.
Great effort by Christensen, but Damon Allen sit in the pocket and took a beating from Bonner, who came straight up the middle and just leveled him as he tried to get that one off. You see Jay Christensen working in the slot, working on the out, but the pressure forced Allen to throw that one high, but great athletic effort by Christensen on that attempt.
We're going to take another look as Damon can see Bonner coming right in his face, and he knows he's going to take the hit, but he stands in there with some courage and delivers the ball almost on the money.
Well, Ottawa has a defense that will pressure you. Glenn Harper angles it out of bounds. Stanley doesn't get a chance to return it. They spot the ball at the 17.
But I think you said it very mildly there. Ottawa has a defense that will pressure you. I think they got a defense that'll hurt you when they get a chance. They bring the pressure on, and once they get there, they come that these guys are nasty, to quote Coach Lancaster.
And when you look at this defense, they've played great all year long. Their offense has been rather anemic this year, inconsistent for the most part. They've held them in game after game, and this offense has just come up a few points short. Jones has to do something early here in the second half. Otherwise, he might be watching the fourth quarter from the sideline.
Jones throwing to James Ellingson, incomplete. 12:30 remaining in the third quarter. Stanley hauled in only one pass, but that was the big play for the Ottawa Roughriders in the first half, a gain of 57 yards.
And he hasn't been that sharp with his passing. He's been more apt to run the football, and granted, that stretches the defense, but you're not going to win a game in the CFL up with your legs.
Well, it's hard to think that in the CFL, Edmonton only completes 5 passes, Ottawa only completes 6 in the entire first half.
Jones in trouble, throws down the sideline, well away from Stephan Jones.
I think it was the same receiver that Damon Allen threw at the last time. I think the same guy caught both of those passes.
I think what they both were looking at was that kicking net. That thing should catch a lot of things because both balls went in that same general area.
They better stick a number on that kicking net and see, because they may catch more passes than both of the offenses combined.
Ron Smeltzer's going to have to make a decision, I think, pretty soon, whether or not to change quarterback.
And that's true, because you can live and die with a guy, but right now he is dying with Terrence Jones. He has just not been able to find a niche, a groove. He is just, you can see his unsettledness in the pocket when he's trying to set up a play.
Jock Climby stands back at his own 3-yard line. Pressure coming, and Don Wilson came very close. This is the best kick for Jock Climby thus far, but Henry the Gizmo Williams finds a bit of a hole, and he takes it to the 38-yard line. Good field position for the Eskimos.
It has a powerful 150 horsepower engine and dual airbags. It's available with leather trim and a 6-speaker CD system. Yet it's an entirely different kind of luxury sedan. It's an affordable one, the Nissan Altima. So much land. So few roads. Was Canada made for the Pathfinder, or vice versa? Nissan, built for the human race.
Presenting our biggest, brightest RCA home theater system. TVs, VCRs, and camcorders. The choice of the enlightened.
We've asked these experts to tell us which is easier, getting into a boat or using the IBM PS1 personal computer. We'll also ask them to trade places.
I don't know if I can do this very well. And, yeah, there we go.
Okay, I think I got it now.
Here we are, boating. A very popular activity in North America.
Wow, these things are wobbly.
Yeah, they're a little tippy.
Hey, Silken, look!
CFL Players Association, George Reed, just the person to ask about the Players Association vote on Tuesday. George, do you expect the playoff format, 4 teams to make it in the West, to be ratified?
Well, I expect to be ratified. The ball players indicate that in an earlier vote, and I don't expect them to change their mind now.
You expect the Stampeders to have to play a semifinal game then?
Well, I expect the way the format's been drawn up, I expect it to go that way, and the Stampeders will have to play the game.
All right, I know that you want to get a word in about the Alumni All-Star team in a few moments, and we'll get to that as soon as Don takes care of some of the action. Don?
One of the greatest rushers of all time in the CFL, and he would be disappointed by the fact that the Eskimos this afternoon are -3 in the rushing category. They're minus even more as Damon Allen goes down back at the 46.
Okay, Don, well, the Alumni Association is currently conducting balloting to name its all-time CFL All-Star team, and George, the plans are to unveil that team at Grey Cup Week. What's the response been like?
Well, so far the response has been tremendous and everything, and we're here today making sure the ballots be handed out to all the fans, and fans can pick them up at the stadiums, at the Husky stations, etc. And we're looking for a great time, and all those guys we hope to bring into Calgary and unveil them there.
Well, I see on this ballot there are names like Lancaster, Reed, and Kepley. Hope the fix isn't in here.
Well, we hope the fix is not there, and I might make it, but Lancaster won't.
Okay. All right, Don.
Well, I think one guy who might make it as far as special teams are concerned is Henry the Gizmo Williams. He was on the receiving end of the throw from Damon Allen. At one time, it appeared as though he had a first down, but he's going to be about 2 yards short as he came back.
He could have had the first down on that, Don. When you look at it, he came back about 5 yards. If he had just turned towards the sideline, stepped up another yard, he would have had the first down. But Giz, being that elusive runner, wanting to get in the open field, cost his team a first down on that play, and they have to settle for a field goal attempt.
A 39-yard field goal try for Sean Fleming. He's hooked this one wide. It goes through the end zone for a single point. So the kickers have had their problems splitting the uprights. Fleming has missed 2. Duncan missed his only attempt. It's 16-1 with 10:05 remaining in the third quarter.
Edmonton is giving Ottawa every opportunity to try to make something happen and get back into this ballgame. They've had a couple of times when they could have put it even more out of reach, but they're allowing Ottawa to stay in this game. Now it's up to Ottawa to rise up to that challenge.
I've looked at the 2 hooks with the kickers. Did they go out golfing with you and Kemp or something?
I slice. I never hook.
Oh, all right. Well, Fleming knows that this should have been a chip shot, and you can see the disappointment on his face right there. You know, it's a smile, but it's a disappointment for a kicker because those should be automatic.
First and 10 from the 35. Terrence Jones remains at quarterback. He gives to Reggie Barnes, and Barnes dives forward to about the 39. That will be a gain of, well, they spot it a little closer to the 40, so credit him with a gain of 5.
Just a little delay play here. Barnes trying to pick up the blocking. Great penetration by that Edmonton defensive front. Barnes did a great job of picking up 5 yards on that play.
These 2 teams meet again next week at Frank Clair Stadium in Ottawa. Ottawa with 3 games remaining. They're at home against Edmonton and Winnipeg, and they wind up the year at Iverwin Stadium in Hamilton on November the 7th. Jones setting up the screen, not even close to the intended target.
But see, that's the inexperience of a young quarterback when he comes in, not following through with the play fake. Jones did not stick the ball in the belly of the running back and pull it out. He just tried to slide it on his hip, slip back, and then all of a sudden the rush was right in his face, and the running back had been picked up at the line of scrimmage.
And still no move by Tom Burgess to remove his jacket and begin warming up.
Well, I think this is a situation where Coach Meltzer today said, hey, I'm going to go with Jones for 60 minutes. Regardless of the turnout of things, we just have to see whether this guy can play in this league or not.
Maybe that isn't Coach Meltzer's decision.
Ooh, Don. We had a counterpart here getting some trouble over that last week.
On the punt return, the Eskimos will scrimmage 1st and 10 from the 48.
I lived in the States at one time, and as I think everybody knows, their health system down there is just horrendous. It can put a person bankrupt overnight, and particularly senior citizens that are in that condition. And certainly we don't want that to happen in Canada. And if Preston Manning makes these changes that he's suggesting and turns it over to the province, I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm concerned about that. And I think the senior citizens are concerned about that.
The world, once a vibrant place, in mankind's care has been allowed to slip into a vortex of mediocrity, wallow in the status quo, and spiral into that beige nether region known as the middle of the road. Time to undo the wrong we have done. Introducing the new Volkswagen Jetta. Definitely not middle of the road. So there.
Subway's steak and cheese sub is not only delicious, it's easy to eat anywhere. To prove that fact, I'm going to eat my dinner here at the rodeo. No one's ridden rocket launcher for more than 8 seconds, so I'll have to eat fast, but you'll want to take your time to really savor tender steak and cheese on our fresh baked bread. One bite and you'll agree. Subway makes great stuff!
Now when you buy one steak and cheese sub with a medium soft drink, you can get a regular 6-inch sub for just 99 cents at Subway.
Well, at least I get a meal on this flight.
Not a lot of scoring in this football game. The Eskimos in front 16-1. Both touchdowns, big plays, 71 yards to Eddie Brown, and then Damon Allen hooked up for 102 yards, an Edmonton club record with Henry the Gizmo Williams. The Eskimos 1st and 10. They are at their own 48-yard line. Butler is wide left. Williams lines up wide right. Quick look-in toss to Jay Christensen, first down to the 49 of Ottawa.
That's what happens when you get all those linebackers crowded up on the line of scrimmage, and Damon Allen, being the veteran quarterback he is, recognized that he has a hot availability. You see all the blitzing coming up inside, Christensen with the quick release inside, and he's inside of Fuller for the first down.
Okay. Christensen was a little slow in getting up and heading back to the huddle, and he appears to be favoring his right foot.
Well, Trudell came in and leveled him with a shoulder shot, and that will jar most receivers.
Good fake to Floyd, but Damon Allen is hauled down by Greg Stuman, a loss back to the 51-yard line.
Greg Stuman does an excellent job, because in that case, when Damon Allen comes on that naked bootleg all by himself, a lot of times, and he raises that right arm to throw the ball, a lot of defenders start to jump up in the air. Greg Stuman does an excellent job of keeping his feet on the ground and running right through Damon Allen and making that sack.
You saw Greg Stuman right there getting out, but you saw Angelo Snipes also in it with Michael Souls right there, and he saw Lucius Floyd trying to trickle out of the backfield into the flat and grab him just as he was trying to release.
2nd and 18. Snipes was after Allen again and put him on his back as the pass sails out of bounds.
That's the one thing you can count on of this Ottawa defense, is the relentless pursuit of these defensive players. Angelo Snipes, last year leading the league in sacks, this time working on a back, getting that outside pressure, coming around on Allen, just slammed him to the turf.
Well, defensively, apart from the 2 big plays, there hasn't been much wrong with Ottawa this afternoon, and I'm sure Ron Lancaster is well aware of that. And as his team struck quickly, the Rough Riders are capable of coming back with points of their own.
Well, the Rough Riders have had much more of a balanced attack as far as what I've seen so far. They haven't been able to the Edmonton hasn't been able to run the ball as much, and that's why guys like Angelo Snipes can tee off on Damon, because he's been throwing the ball so much.
Stanley got up to the 25-yard line. Souls and Johnson were there to bring him down. Penalty flag in the play as well on a 12-yard return, and the holding call against Ottawa is going to take it back closer to their goal line.
Well, Don, on the sidelines, Willie Plessis attire answers any questions about his status for the rest of the game. He's in street clothes, meaning he will not play. He said if it was up to him, he would come back, but that's because he's a football player. But he's exercising some caution here, as advised by the Edmonton medical staff, to take it easy, given that he's had games in which he's had consecutive shots to the head, last week in Sacramento and early in this game today. Willie Pless, of course, leads the league in tackles, and that about says it all about how badly his loss will be felt in this game. And Blake Marshall, Larry Ruck with him on the sidelines. There are 3 very good players for the Eskimos, all out of action as we speak. Eskimos lead the Rough Riders 16-1. We'll return.
Oh, does this take me back? 1959, my sister's wedding. That's the house we all grew up in. You know, I can't remember my dad ever mentioning what it was worth. Gee, he didn't have to. It was home. And every time I help a family settle in, I want them to have that same feeling. It's nice to see that sense of commitment is back in fashion.
1st and 10, Ottawa. They are at the 6-yard line. Sean Daniels takes the handoff and is dropped immediately. This will be a loss of 1. Tony Woods was there.
When you come up to the line of scrimmage and you're looking at a 7-man defensive front, running is not going to be your most successful play. That's when you have to be astute enough to audible out of that situation, buy yourself some time, possibly roll out and find a receiver open in the flat.
There's where Ottawa hasn't had a lot of successes coming in 1st and 10 plays, and they've always given themselves 2nd and long situations to be in.
Jones fumbled the football, and he is down at the 2-yard line. He might have been better off there to concede a safety touch.
Well, a situation where you come in with the 2nd and long, the running play on 1st down. Now, this defense knows that you have to put the ball in the air on 2nd and long. They can load it up and bring everybody up front.
The snaps there, it just looks like, as you can see, Terrence Jones's head is looking down the field. It's supposed to be just a 6th sense of being able to feel that football, and it goes right through his hands as he loses the handle on it.
What did you defensive players used to call it? Happy feet?
Happy feet. So he's nervous. And you can see the nervousness of Terrence Jones on that particular play. He has really not found himself in this game, and Jock Kleiman, they're going to put a lot of pressure on him on this kick.
You want to see nervous, you look in Kleiman's eyes right there again.
Good hang time, and a good kick as it bounces out of bounds at the 50-yard line. 5:19 remaining in the 3rd quarter.
Mohawk is an oil company with a difference. For instance, this is our field of exploration. This is our chief operations officer, responsible for future growth. Here's one of our distribution managers. And these are our investors. And this is their return on investment. Cleaner gas, clearer thinking. Mohawk, Mother Nature's gas station.
Before you buy a home on the Westwood Plateau, consider this. The neighbors are noisy. The landscaping is overgrown. The roads are unpaved. And the backyards are full of holes. Still interested? The Westwood Plateau, a master planned community by Westbuild.
It's good seeing you again.
Yeah, it's been a while.
You look great. I'd forgotten what a great smile you have.
I take care of myself.
So,
More coffee, sir?
Yes, please. So, are you seeing anyone?
Yeah, regularly.
Is it serious?
It is to me. We see each other every 6 months. My dentist. I'll give you the number.
Oh, it's okay. I'm seeing someone myself.
Make a date with your dentist. Take care of your smile.
Ottawa needed a big punt from Jock Kleiman, and they got it.
A 48-yard net on the kick. A good snap, eye high. Jock Kleiman able to field it cleanly, get all of his body into it. Perfect follow-through, and that's the key of getting that tight spiral on the ball.
And the reason that he didn't get any heat on there was that Edmonton was setting up the return. The one thing that Giz has got to do is field the punt and get it up the field.
1st and 10, Edmonton from the 50 of Ottawa. Hasn't been running as much this season as he has in the past. He takes the ball inside the 40-yard line. That will be very close to a 1st down. Michael Souls with a key block for Damon Allen. Mike Richardson, the leading rusher in the CFL, 773 yards. This might be the first time since 1953 that there has not been a 1,000-yard rusher in the CFL.
That is very true. And you look at Damon Allen, the 4th leading rusher in the league, a quarterback, and that's very uncommon.
the catch. And he's a tough man to bring down, battling his way to the 22-yard line. That was not a great throw by Damon Allen.
Well, the reason it wasn't a great throw is because Librand Robinson and John Kropke were all over Damon Allen just as he tried to release that ball. And it was a jump ball for Gizmo. He went up, Burkett slipped down. Great ability after he had gotten the ball of eluding tacklers, picking up extra yardage down to the 22-yard line. The Giz has had an exceptional day. 4 receptions, 171 yards, 1 touchdown, and buying some airtime right now.
Is there a player in the CFL in better shape than the Gizmo?
Well, right now, he seems to be a little winded, Don, so that could be a bad statement at this point.
But I don't think anybody works out any more than he does. Do they, Dan?
Well, I don't know, because we don't get a chance to see the other teams. I mean, everybody's going to work out tremendously and hard getting ready for the season. But I know that he and also Willie Pless are workout partners in the off-season, and they have a number of the Eskimo guys that go and try to work out with them, in the case of 10 or 15 guys. And within the first 2 or 3 weeks of their workouts, it's down to Willie and Giz, and that's all that's left of working out.
Well, you'll get Tim Cofield throw his hat in that ring because he's slated to be probably the strongest man in the CFL.
And I don't think we're going to argue with Tim Cofield.
I'm going to let him have that distinction.
I'll let Don have that chat.
For Eddie Brown, he can't catch it. He got turned around. He and Anthony Drawhorn were running stride for stride in the end zone.
But as we call it again, the old alligator arms, he just could not get him out there. Kept him curled to his body like he didn't want to put him out there and take a chance at something and cost himself. Damon Allen with a perfect lob on the ball, getting a little heat, lays it out there for Eddie Brown. He just doesn't extend the hands. Cost himself another touchdown if he had have done it.
Comes over the toughest place. It comes right over the center of his helmet, and therefore he can't find it because he can't look over that left shoulder and be able to pick up the ball quick enough.
2nd and 10. Here comes the heat pass. And he was leading Jay Christensen a little too much. And one of the reasons he did that, I'm sure, was the pressure coming up the middle.
A lot of heat up front from this Ottawa defensive front 7. You can see him lining up, blitzing everybody, and Getz was getting to Allen just as he was letting that ball go and just planted that shoulder in his chest and drove him to the turf.
A lot of times that happened. The middle linebacker is not picked up in the blocking scheme when they go man-to-man coverage. When the back split in the backfield, the 2 outside linebackers will pick him up, and the middle linebacker is free in the middle, and a lot of times he'll allow those offensive linemen to engage in their blocks. A spot will open up, and then he'll shoot through it as he just did on a delayed blitz.
This time, Sean Fleming, on his 3rd field goal attempt of the game, puts it through. And with 3:04 remaining in the 3rd quarter, it's now Edmonton 19, Ottawa 1.
And right now, Ottawa has to feel a sense of urgency. When they come on the field on this series, they have to make something happen now. They can't keep waiting on sequence after sequence to occur. You'll see Coach Smeltzer there barking out to his defense, guys, you got to stop them. But hey, this Edmonton offense hasn't done anything wrong today.
Terrence Jones just needs to go back to those kind of series of plays that he had earlier. Run the ball inside a little bit, hit the hot, then scramble a bit and run on his own. You know, put some pressure on this Edmonton defense.
Receivers have to catch passes like that. And Reggie Barnes had it bounce off his chest.
Reggie Barnes, the cardinal sin of a receiver trying to curl a ball against your body. That's what you got those hands out there for. Extend those hands, bring that ball in softly. Reggie Barnes let it get to the shoulder pads, and you could hear it pop out all the way up here.
Reggie Barnes, the man that Terrence Jones was looking for. Jones has yet to complete a pass in the 2nd half.
And you can see that his team is struggling along with him.
2nd and 10 from the 35. Well, Dixon, who was in the ball game as a replacement for the injured Larry Ruck, got to Terrence Jones.
A similar situation we just saw with the Ottawa defense. Dixon coming in from his middle linebacker position on that delayed rush, working one-on-one against one of the offensive linemen, able to just push right through him. As Jones stepped up in the pocket, Dixon was there for the sack.
We talked about Jock Climby having to be a receiver coming back and kick. Then this is the first opportunity that Dixon's going to have to play a whole game at a linebacker and be one of the top specialty teams the Edmonton Eskimo players have.
The ball bounces to Holland at the 45-yard line. And Holland is down at midfield.
Well, Don, I know you speculated for a while, but when we might see Tom Burgess at quarterback for the Rough Riders in this game, I spoke to Harry Justvig, the team's offensive coordinator, as he headed up to the spotter's box, and I asked him how long he'd go with Terrence Jones in this game, and he said, the decision is this. This is Terrence Jones' game to win or lose, and only if it's won or lost will he come out. Sure isn't won. In fact, it appears to be heading in the opposite direction, but there's no sign yet. Tom Burgess still got his jacket on that he'll be coming into the game.
Do you understand that logic, either of you gentlemen?
Well, it's a new set of terminology rules. We'll touch on it after this play.
Librand Robinson finishes the job that Angelo Snipes started.
It's been a field day for the defensive ends for Ottawa this afternoon. As you mentioned, Snipes coming in on a free run on Allen, but Librand Robinson being right there, Johnny on the spot, able to get that cleanup sack.
They do what they call a G block, and that means that Dumoulin, the guard from the right-hand side, that's where the G comes in, comes from his guard position, drops in and tries to pick up the outside blitzing Angelo Snipes. Gets there a little late. Snipes got great speed and was able to put the pressure on and force Damon Allen into Librand Robinson's hands.
2nd and 26 out of the shotgun. Damon Allen being chased by Bonner, throws to the sidelines for Brown, incomplete.
You know, to go back to that Ottawa situation on the quarterbacks, you look at Terrence Jones, he hasn't done anything to help the team. When you look at it, you have 36 players out there. You have to worry about the 36, not just the one. You talk about developing his confidence. It'd be hard to say right now if he even thinks that he has confidence. I mean, you have to put a quarterback in there right now at this point of urgency that can possibly move this football team.
19-1 the score, and the Ottawa Rough Riders should get the ball back in reasonable field position. Stanley takes the ball at the 35. Good downfield coverage by the Eskimos. They take pride in their special teams play, and Ottawa will be scrimmaging 1st and 10 from the 37.
Well, right now, you got Jones coming back into the game. He has to, on this series, make something happen. Otherwise, they have to seriously consider about bringing in another quarterback. You have Markel Fleetwood on the bench, who has not taken a snap all game. And, you know, Tommy Burgess, you know what he can do. He can't do any worse than what Terrence Jones has done already this afternoon.
Well, you've got to figure, with Tommy Burgess standing over there, the cape hasn't left his shoulders all game long. He's not going to come in that cold. I think this is 60 minutes of the Terrence Jones show.
Well, you know, there was some talk coming into the game that, you know, the decision might not have been Coach Smelters. We've seen this situation in Ottawa already before, where we've had people beyond the coaching staff making decisions as far as player moves within the club. And, you know, this might be another one of those moves that they want to see if Terrence Jones can quarterback 60 minutes in a CFL football game.
His first pass on 1st down, intended for Reggie Barnes. It will be 2nd and 10, and this will be the final play of the 3rd quarter.
Well, it certainly is right now, trial by fire.
Wilson blitzing. Barnes picks him up. And Jones underthrows the receiver along the sidelines. He was looking for Rob Creefel on the final play of quarter 3.
Hi, hon. Another stellar day for the self-employed?
Just when I seem to be getting ahead. More bills.
Your Yellow Pages are more than a collection of listings and ads. They represent the hopes and dreams of real people like Jan.
Yeah.
Hi, it's Jan from Locale Heroes.
Listen, I got 30 guys working through the night. My regular guy let me down.
Hot soup and subs okay?
Hey, Jan, I have 3 more sites around town. Why don't you give me a call tomorrow? We'll chat.
Thanks.
Yellow Pages will always be there.
I'm in Orchard Country to find out what people know about BC credit unions. Excuse me.
Pardon?
Hello. Did you know that 1 out of 4 homeowners in British Columbia got their mortgage at a BC credit union?
Yes.
And are you aware you knew that?
My credit union helped me buy this place and also created a retirement plan, so I'll be able to retire early.
Boy, did I pick a good tree or what?
BC Credit Unions. British Columbians investing in one another.
CBC Sports presents the CFL on CBC. Brought to you by BC Tel.
We're going to get a good look at Terrence Jones. He's confused on the sideline, but take a look at him here when all of a sudden he's going to be right here looking to his right, and all of a sudden he comes back and going to sprint out to his left-hand side, and then he starts to panic. It wants to be a throwback, and then he doesn't have a chance to find any receivers downfield, and nobody's trying to work to get back open, and all he has to do is dump the ball off to Creepo, trying to make something happen out of nothing.
Jock climbing. Punts from his own 25-yard line. The Gizmo back in the punt return team. The Gizmo's trying to get wide. And the Gizmo is forced out of bounds by climbing. Dixon made a very good block, enabling the Gizmo to get open. You know, when the Gizmo saw us walk into the dressing room yesterday, and he said to Scott Oak, he said, the CBC crew is here. I'm in for a big game. It seems he saved some of his best games when we're here to televise the Eskimos. And
well, I think any time that the Giz can get his hands on the football, it's an electrifying event, and you could see it on that punt return right there. It seemed to come up with a little limp at the end of that run, but he got that seam up the sideline and got it down to the 43-yard line on not too bad of a punt by climbing.
28 yards on the return for the Gizmo. Pretty good day for all-purpose yards. Michael Souls, the ball carrier, and he gets just a yard as he's brought down by John Kropke. Statistically, 274 net yards for the Eskimos, but again, 173 of those yards on 2 plays.
Yeah, it's very misleading stats by the Eskimos right there, but I've been really impressed by this Ottawa defense all afternoon. They've done a great job, as you can see on that running play there by Michael Souls. You got Tommy Burgess coming in out of the bullpen finally, but you wait 3 quarters. I mean, you put your team in such a desperate situation that everyone gets a chance to tee off on Burgess.
Well, the Ottawa Rough Riders have been teeing off on Damon Allen, and he has on numerous occasions been running for his life, and he's been forced to throw the ball a lot quicker than he actually wants to. That one was released early, intended for Eddie Brown.
Eddie Brown's in the slot, and he goes straight down the seam, but as he's supposed to come in there with the safety out of the middle, come into the quick post, very hot route, and Damon, as soon as he throws the ball, he looks at Eddie, gives him that little turn left signal, like you got to bring it back inside, and everybody has got to be on the same page. Receivers have to read the same thing that quarterbacks read.
But Drawhorn read what Damon Allen was looking at and stepped up in that seam, because if Eddie had came inside, Drawhorn might have been able to pick that one off. He had a lot of running room in front of him.
You see the experience of a guy like Drawhorn. He reads the play. He knows that's where the hot route's supposed to go.
A foul up by the Eskimos on the punting team, and Glenn Harper is going to take the 20-second time count violation. They were a man short.
Well, you know, that's the veteran of Glenn Harper right there, you know, sitting back, letting that run out, because it's really not going to cost the team. Plus, it also increases his angle of possibly kicking this out inside the 10-yard line.
But Ron Lancaster isn't going to be happy with the guy who wasn't on the field.
Well, specialty teams, those guys should know what their assignment is, he feels, because that's your starting assignment. You should be out there every time that ball is snapped on those events.
Should we point out the culprit, Melvin Hunter?
Well, I don't know if Melvin would exactly appreciate that, Don.
Stanley is going to try and let it bounce into the end zone, but it comes back into the field of play. And a no yards penalty is going to be assessed against the Eskimos. Stanley was going to let it bounce into the end zone. He was willing to give up a single point, but the ball landed right at the goal line and came back into the field of play.
But a great punt by Harper, a great hang time. He got that ball to go up and turn over, and that's the key, and it bounced back into the field of play to keep him pinned down inside the 10.
No yards. Edmonton, number 90, 5-yard penalty. First down, Ottawa.
Well, we talked about the career year that Tom Burgess was having at the start of our telecast. 24 touchdown passes, 4,229 yards he has thrown for thus far this year. He was not happy when the decision was reached that he would not be the starting quarterback for this game. Draw play with Reggie Barnes, close to a first down.
Well, those two are accustomed to each other working together in the backfield, and it's quite understandable with Tom Burgess's year that he would be upset. Any competitor does not want to watch the game from the sideline.
Burgess has a career high in yards this year passing, and he's only 46 yards away from the Ottawa club record held by Damon Allen for passing yards.
But I think the major point was touched on by Dan at the beginning of our broadcast is that Burgess has not used a few key situations very wisely.
Well, he tried to go to Stephan Jones on the sideline.
We're going to get an incompletion on the play. Jones did not work back towards the quarterback, which he should, and he allowed the defensive back to get the break on the ball, allowing him to cause that incompletion right there at the end of the play.
Burgess does a great job of getting outside and throwing the ball with some authority, and we're going to take a good look here.
Well, the official was right on top, call that incomplete. Now, I didn't say he did. The official did that.
I think the ball came out of the hands of Stephan Jones. Both he and Smeltzer were protesting that the ball came loose when he hit the turf, but I don't think he ever had control.
Or possibly that he never had possession of the ball as such.
I won't get in the middle of it.
2nd and 10. Grifo first down at the 38-yard line. Now that pass was delivered with some authority.
A lot of authority, but now you also see the Ottawa offense in a sense of urgency. Maybe Tommy Burgess would like to go in that hurry-up sequence. He only has 11 minutes left in this contest. He needs to get 3 scores for this team to be in the lead.
And what he can utilize is obviously being on the sideline, whether he didn't like being there or not, learning and being able to watch this Edmonton defense without being chased around. Now he can go out there and put it into shape and put it into form.
Barnes takes the handoff. Barnes should get another first down. He's run out of bounds at the Eskimo bench. He had to get up to about the 48-yard line, and he's going to be very close.
But, Don, what it does is create a 2nd and short situation. That's what you like to have offensively. You have to be impressed with what Reggie Barnes has done this afternoon, being on the field for Ottawa Rough Riders. Already, they've doubled this afternoon their season average as far as rushing in a football game. You see Barnes here on that inside handoff out of the eye from Burgess, getting around. He picks up his blocking so well as he stretches to the sideline, picking up 9 yards on this run.
Ottawa's 2nd and 1. All at the 47.
Well, Tom Burgess, in commenting on the fact that he wasn't starting this game, said the thing that really upset him was he had the feeling that he was taking the fall for the poor performance of the Rough Riders this year. And I suppose he has to shoulder a good portion of the blame. Reggie Barnes on 2nd and 1 should have the first down. He had to struggle to get to the 50.
You're correct in that situation, especially last week when he had the 3rd down and 1 situation where he went to the sideline after he came out of a shotgun formation saying he thought it was 3rd and 3. When you're the quarterback, you have to be able to look and recognize down and distance with the yardsticks on the sideline, costing your team in critical situations like that. The Toronto game with the time count violation cost him a turnover on downs. He can't do that as the quarterback. He has to shoulder some of the blame.
Handoff to Sean Daniels. He gets about a yard.
Not much running room.
Well, the Eskimos are fortunate that they were able to stop that play because they were short a player defensively. Michel Bourgeot just now coming into the ball game.
Well, Bourgeot started out his career in Ottawa. He was originally a #1 draft pick out of Boise State back in '84, and now he's extended his career here in Edmonton.
Stephan Jones takes it out of bounds at the Edmonton 45-yard line.
Won't be any doubt that that was a reception on that play. Great concentration by Jones, working the deep out on the sideline. You'll see Burgess here buying a little half roll, firing that run out to Jones. Burgess seems to have some renewed arm strength since coming in off the bench here in the 4th quarter.
Ottawa 1st and 10, ball at the Eskimo 45.
Jones goes wide to the right. 1st and 10, Ottawa. The ball is at the 45 of the Eskimos. 9:28 remaining in the game. Tom Burgess, say hello to Len Johnson.
Quinn Johnson, one of those players that you mentioned in the trade coming from Toronto, being able to play as a backup, and he rotates in there on that defensive line of Edmonton, and he's coming in there with a fresh set of legs. That would be the one facet of the game that I think they lose with Terrence Jones not as the quarterback, is that quick feet mobility as a quarterback.
And you can call that a coverage sack because he had plenty of time from his offensive line, but a great job done by the Edmonton secondary on that play.
2nd and 15 out of the shotgun. 6 defensive backs. The pass complete to Grifo. Big first down at the 28-yard line.
Big first down by a big target, Don. When you look at Grifo coming across the middle, 6'6", coming across in that deep slant route. Burgess sitting back in the pocket, plenty of time, takes a hit right at the end from Johnson again. But Grifo getting in between the halfback and the linebacker, found that open spot.
You can tell with a couple of young players in there, and Dixon in the linebacking situation, not having Ruck and Willie Pless, that middle is still a little soft and a little vulnerable.
4 first downs on this drive. Draw play with Reggie Barnes. And a good recovery by Murphy as he came over to assist on the tackle.
But what you have to like about Barnes being back in the backfield is that every time he touches the ball, he picks up yardage. He heads towards the line of scrimmage. He is that slashing type of runner. He'll find those small creases, and that time he was able to pick up 3.5, 4 yards on that run.
2nd and 7, ball at the Eskimos 24.
2nd and 7 out of the shotgun. Burgess dumps it off to Reggie Barnes. Oh, Barnes is hauled down, but this is going to be a face mask call against Robert Holland. Oh, he reached out and grabbed the face mask of Reggie Barnes, and Barnes was slow in getting up. That really jerked him around.
That's one of the rules that really should be looked at in football, is that you get the players tackling up above the shoulders. I mean, not too many good things can come from that, and that was a blatant foul on that play right there. Holland had no chance of grabbing anything other than the face mask, and Reggie Barnes, a lot of times players will end up with injuries from plays like that.
One of the keyest points that Coach Melcher said is that Ottawa has had any trouble completing their drives in this red zone, being able to stick it in the end zone for 6 when they get inside the 20.
Well, they're inside the 10, and Burgess is in trouble as Jed Roberts brings him down back at the 18-yard line. But you're absolutely right, Dan. That's been the big problem this year for Ottawa in that red zone, the scoring area inside the 25.
Another coverage sack. That time they came up man-to-man at the line of scrimmage. Burgess couldn't find his initial receiver. Jed Roberts coming in late. A spy position there at the linebacker, coming on that delayed rush, picking up his 8th sack of the season.
It's not a secret. You're not going to have a lot of time as a quarterback playing against the Edmonton Eskimos or the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They're going to come and get in your face quickly. You got to read it and get rid of it.
Burgess throwing into the end zone, incomplete. Well over the head of James Ellingson.
But he had pressure once again from Woods and Goods right up the middle. This Edmonton defense knows the sense of urgency from the Ottawa offense, knowing that Burgess has to pass the ball because he has to get into the end zone. You see Justvig in the box there looking down at his offense, not being too pleased from the pressure that they're getting from this Edmonton defense.
And the fellow beside was assistant coach Larry Hogue, ex-defensive back, doing an excellent job for the Ottawa Rough Riders.
3rd down gamble.
I don't know if it's a gamble. They just have to go anyway.
High snap that Burgess hauls down, throws to the goal area, incomplete. James Ellingson was the man he was looking for, and it was knocked away by Rogers with 6:07 remaining in the game.
Dreams. Not just for yourself, but more for your kids.
Yeah, hoping the future will be okay and they'll be happy.
Sharing. You know, not seeing everything the same old way.
Yeah, like having an appreciation of how other people live.
Saying that's one thing. Meaning it? Well, that's another.
Bank of Montreal. We're paying attention.
Great. But as customers, we'll be watching.
There are a lot of frustrations in the job.
Among other things, Don Watson's in charge of the phone system at the Canadian Standards Association.
People rely on me to provide a quality service.
When the CSA moved into their new building, Don also decided to move to a new supplier for their new telecommunications needs.
BCTel has done a lot for making their long-distance prices and services a lot more competitive.
If your organization expects high standards from you and your telecommunications supplier, put BCTel to the test.
Even when the weather makes driving pretty wild, Michelin all-season radials offer you so much road handling control and long-lasting durability. It'll make your head spin. Expect more from Michelin all-season radials, because so much is riding on your tires.
We had a sense of urgency from Ottawa. You get Burgess and quarterback in the slot, and the slot, Ellingson coming in. Rogers going to come right in here over the top, and you'll see right here, if we can get a freeze, Rogers making contact, fighting through Ellingson right here prior to the ball arriving. He had a valid complaint on that play that should have been called interference, and Ottawa needed any break that they could get.
1st and 10 for the Eskimos as they take over at the 18-yard line. The handoff to Lucius Floyd, and he gets out to the 26. Tripped up as Dumaresque led the way. And right now, the Eskimos trying to keep the ball on the ground and take time off the clock.
Well, the clock is their ally. You get Lucius Floyd with an inside counter play right here, picking up a block, getting out for 8 yards on that run. Not a bad play on 1st down by Damon Allen.
Ron Smeltzer knows his team has to get the ball back. And they may get it as Michael Soles is stuffed right at the line of scrimmage.
It will look like he surged forward enough, far enough for the 1st down, but you got to be impressed with this Ottawa defense all afternoon with just 1 point on the scoreboard by their offense, and they've been in it play in and play out.
It's a group and a gang of guys over there. As Coach Lancaster said, they are a nasty bunch of guys, and that has nothing to do on a personal basis. It's just their attitude, and you've got to have an attitude when you play defense as aggressively and as successfully as particularly that front 7 of the Ottawa Rough Riders.
So why haven't you changed since you quit playing?
Well, yeah, those lepers don't change their spots, I guess. That's the way it is.
Well, it is a 1st down for Edmonton. You talked about the 1 point. 1 point games have been the downfall of the Ottawa Rough Riders this year.
Well, when you lose 6 games by 4 points or less, and 4 of those games are by 1 point, you have a sense of being snake bitten as the season progresses along.
Butler was the man Damon Allen was attempting to go to. Yeah, when you look back at the Ottawa Rough Rider record, 21-20 to Hamilton on July 16th. 27-26 to Saskatchewan on August the 19th, 25-24 to BC on September 4th, 17-16 to Toronto on October 3rd. You know, if they had won those football games, Ron Smeltzer may have had more of a free hand in running the show in Ottawa.
And the circus might not have existed at that point out east.
Allen has had problems missing on his last 5 passes. This one to Jay Christensen, but there's a penalty flag back at the line of scrimmage.
And that generally comes in the area where offensive linemen will get some recognition through a game.
And that's exactly what they're going to get, offensive holding.
Holding, Edmonton number 50, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down, repeat it.
Had a nice comment with Blake prior to the game yesterday in the Edmonton locker room, and I guess he finally did get his name called during the game.
I don't think he meant for you to talk to him under those kind of conditions.
Oh, okay.
Michael Soles shaken up in the last play. He's being replaced by Brian Walling.
They haven't had much success keeping their running backs healthy in Edmonton this year, and they cannot afford to lose Michael Soles this late in the season.
Allen out of the shotgun. Finds Eddie Brown. He's got a 1st down up to the 45-yard line. 4 minutes And 1 second remaining in the football game with the clock running.
The dimension that Damon Allen brings to a football team is the ability to get out of the pocket and survey the field. But what he does here so exceptional is that he settles down, he lets himself get squared up and deliver the ball to Eddie Brown, allowing him to pick up that extra yardage after the completion.
And the experience of Eddie Brown of finding that open area and settling down and giving Damon a target to throw to.
I'm not sure who Damon was throwing to on that pass. He had both Butler and Christensen in the area.
Just a little look up there. That's Dave Cutler, probably one of the greatest kickers, if not the greatest kicker in Edmonton Eskimo history and CFL history. And I just want to wish him, I think it's 48th birthday. Happy birthday, Cuddy.
Cutler was a dinosaur, wasn't he? Because he was probably the last straightaway kickers in the CFL.
He's that straightaway, toe tied up.
Loaded shoe?
Well, he did that, but they never checked the shoe. It's a good thing that we never had the shoe checked.
So lead toes don't exist anymore.
Draw play with Damon Allen. Cutler, one of many former Eskimo stars with their names on the Wall of Honor here at Commonwealth Stadium. Number 42 is pretty close to midfield. 19-1 is the score.
Labatt Ice Beer has arrived. This is a beer created by a truly new way of brewing. Ice brewing. Labatt Ice Beer. Uniquely rich in taste, yet uniquely easy to drink. Ultimately, the truth is clear as crystal. If it's not ice brewed, it's not ice beer.
Many you'll never meet.
Bill Hughes, mechanic.
Some you may remember, or making a difference on your last trip.
Lorna Fraser, flight attendant.
But the one thing the over 17,000 men and women of Canadian Airlines have in common
Kelly Shaw, maintenance.
is the shared belief that you have the right to a choice of airline.
Joe Harmon, welder.
And they're doing everything they can to make sure you do.
Remember the EH-101 wartime helicopter? The conservatives liked it so much, they're going to spend $5 billion on it. That's $5 billion of your money.
Enough. I have a plan for the responsible spending of your money, including the cancellation of the helicopter deal. I have the people, I have the plan. We will make a difference.
Back in Edmonton, a reminder that this is week 2 of Molson Hockey Night in Canada. 3 games on the menu this evening. Quebec's at Montreal. As far as excitement goes, you can't beat that rivalry. Toronto's playing at Detroit. The Leafs beat the Wings 6-3 last night, and feelings ran high in that game. So tonight should be a good one. Vancouver here at Northlands Coliseum to play the Edmonton Oilers. That's a rematch of the Thanksgiving Monday game, which the Canucks won. So, Don, 3 good games on the schedule tonight.
Yes, Hockey Night in Canada, and check your local listings for the telecast in your particular area. Stanley handling the ball on this punt return for Ottawa. But Melvin Hunter stops him at the 32-yard line, and that's where Ottawa will scrimmage 1st and 10.
This is your standard living room. Seating for 8 with all the comforts of home. Our living room also has seating for 8 with all the comforts of home. The only difference is ours comes with a 4.3-liter V6 engine, standard 4-wheel anti-lock brakes, a driver's side facial airbag, and the most towing capacity in its class. Introducing the 1994 GMC Safari.
Which is easier, spinning a rope or tying into the IBM PS1 personal computer? These 2 experts will demonstrate, but first, we'll ask them to trade places.
Ow! I can't believe it. It worked. Get down there. All right. Yeah, yippee! Bill, you're going to need a lot more practice with that. Further away from me. I think I got it. Yeah.
There are a lot of frustrations in the job.
Among other things, Don Watson is in charge of the phone system at the Canadian Standards Association.
People rely on me to provide a quality service.
When the CSA moved into their new building, Don also decided to move to a new supplier for their new telecommunications needs.
BCTel has done a lot for making their long-distance prices and services a lot more competitive.
If your organization expects high standards from you and your telecommunications supplier, put BCTel to the test.
One Ron worked for the other Ron in 1991. Smeltzer was the offensive line coach for the Eskimos under Ron Lancaster before he went on to join the Ottawa Rough Riders.
But you see a sense of frustration and desperation on one Ron and a sense of relaxation on the other.
2:34 remaining as Darren Joseph carries up to the 35-yard line. We talked about Reggie Barnes earlier and how the Riders missed his running ability. They felt, I'm sure, at training camp that Darren Joseph was going to take over that tailback position and do the job for them.
Well, you know, it's very hard to replace a guy with the numbers of productivity that Reggie Barnes had brought to this team. And then Joseph didn't pan out. You know, when you wait till the house is burnt down before you put some fire on those coals, some water on those coals, sometimes you wonder why teams do things that way.
Burgess was chased by Leroy Blue, and he got up to the 40-yard line. Brought down there by Don Wilson.
Perfect situation here. All you have to do as a defender is that you've got to lock up with your man in your area or in your zone. Force Tom Burgess to have to carry the ball, even if he runs it. Then once he crosses the line of scrimmage, then you release your guy, react up as Donnie Wilson did. Come up and make the solid stick.
25,140 watching the action this afternoon at Commonwealth Stadium with 1 minute and 50 seconds remaining as Burgess in the shotgun throws to the sidelines, and it was knocked away by Ed Barry, intended for Stephan Jones. And we'll be back after this.
Aspen Cologne for men. A compelling new experience for women. Aspen, now.
It has a great reliability, and it's a lovely looking four-wheel drive.
The vehicle's wonderful. It handles beautifully.
When we get them back with 400,000 and 500,000 kilometers on them, you know that the car has good utility.
This truck has got 413,000 kilometers on it.
So you don't have to bring it back again and again for repair.
Because it goes anywhere.
I basically feel we have a professional team behind us for the whole time we own the vehicle.
This weekend, don't miss the spectacular mid-month price crash sale at Future Shop. Future Shop has over $70 million of brand-name audio, video, computers, and appliances. And right now, you can save like never before. Check out the super deals from Compaq, RCA, Canon, Mitsubishi, General Electric, Whirlpool, Panasonic, Apple, and many more. Hurry down to Future Shop's spectacular mid-month price crash sale. This weekend only. Don't miss it.
We saw Dave Cutler's name earlier on the Wall of Fame. Dan Kepley's number 42 is up there. And a teammate of Dan's is going to be added next year, Tommy Scott, an outstanding receiver for the Eskimos for a number of years. And this young man wearing the Los Angeles Kings hat is Michael Kepley, Dan's son. Hi, Michael.
Yeah, but he's a better looking athlete. He can skate.
His mother was much better looking. He takes after her.
Lucius Floyd is stopped at the 45-yard line by David Benefield. 1:38 remaining in the football game. The Eskimos with a win, and that's assuming they hang on to this 18-point lead. We'll move into a tie for second place in the West with the BC Lions.
Don, do you say that they won't hold on to this?
I think I might give odds.
Oh.
Damon Allen Throws to the sidelines intended for Brown. It's incomplete.
Tipped as it got to the line of scrimmage by one of the Ottawa defenders. You have to be impressed by this defense this afternoon. They've played every down like it was the first down of the game. This defense has of Ottawa Rough Riders. They have not slowed down in their pursuit. Ron Getchell saw him going off the field there. You have to take your hat off to them because their offense hasn't done anything. But other than the two big plays that they've given up defensively, they've had a spectacular afternoon.
But there is still a possibility for the Ottawa Rough Riders to make postseason play, and things have dramatically changed in the Eastern Division, of course, with the injury last night to Matt Dunnigan that has finished his season. Pressure coming up the middle. The punt is blocked. Noel came flying through. And the Ottawa Rough Riders will have it 1st and 10 at the 45-yard line.
Well, right here, you see Noel coming right up the middle. Harper taking his time on the kick, going to that point of trajectory where the ball is going to come off the kicker's foot. Great layout by Noel. Comes up with the big block. Ottawa with the ball on the 45-yard line.
Noel with the block. Snipes almost got to it as well. Pressure coming right up the middle, and Patrick Burke grabbed the loose ball. So Ottawa still has a life with 1:06 remaining.
But once again, that defense consistently making plays this afternoon.
Burgess over the head of Sean Daniels. It will be 2nd and 10.
And very covered for the Eskimos. Lots of happy feet in there again. Defense is just getting right up in Tommy Burgess' face, and he looks very unsettled about what he's trying to do. And he's not really doing this and throwing this and calling the plays with a lot of confidence.
Well, you know, when you look at it and you're the quarterback, and that offensive line is almost like a sieve in front of you, where you have those defensive players just pouring right through. And that's what Ottawa's quarterbacks, both Jones and Burgess, have seen all afternoon.
Barnes makes the catch, but he won't get a 1st down.
Got down by Robert Pollard.
Barnes working out in the flat. Burgess getting him the ball in a hurry, trying to slow down that rush. At this point, you take any play that will work, even though that one came up 4 yards short of a 1st down. They have to go for it on 3rd down here.
But they've had, offensively, they've had a number of plays that worked extremely well. They ran the ball extremely well in the 1st half. They dumped the hot passes off, and I just don't know why, in essence, that they got away from those plays.
Well, these teams will meet again Friday night at Frank Clair Stadium. Rob Creepo couldn't hang on to the ball on 3rd down as Dixon was all over him. So with 31 seconds remaining, the Eskimos will take the final seconds off the clock, and Ron Smeltzer will watch his team go down to yet another defeat.
Well, when you have a team that's struggling offensively like you have here in Ottawa, you have to really simplify your playbook. You might want to throw out 20 or 30 pages of it, bring it down to a sequence between 6 and 10 different plays that you want to run, and try to hone those down to perfection.
This will be the 12th loss of the year for the Ottawa Rough Riders, and depending what happens Monday night when Toronto entertains Calgary, they are currently tied for last place in the Eastern Division. Michael Souls back in the ball game, and he takes the ball into Ottawa territory at the 53.
Nice little run by Michael Souls after seeing him hobble off the field a couple series ago and come back in and pick up that nice run here late in the game.
He's a gutsy performer. He's one of those guys that'll come out there every game, every day at practice and give you 100%. He doesn't lack, he doesn't have a lot of speed, a lot of ability in some area, but he goes out there and he makes up for it with a tremendous amount of effort.
Damon Allen is going to take a knee with 5 seconds remaining, and he'll take the final 5 seconds off the clock without any difficulty. Terrence Jones excited at the prospect of starting a football game here at Commonwealth Stadium, and early he did some running and kept the Eskimo defense a little off balance, but this is a passing league and he wasn't able to complete many throws.
Well, you can see Jones a little unnerved in the pocket as the game went on. He was a quarterback who was trying to avoid the hit. If you're going to play that position, you have to expect to be hit as the game goes along.
So the win for the Edmonton Eskimos moves them into a tie for 2nd place with the BC Lions, teams with 9-6 records in the Western Division. The Saskatchewan Roughriders at 8-7 are at home tomorrow afternoon to the Hamilton Ticats. So there is the possibility of a three-way tie for second place in the West with just 3 weeks remaining in the CFL.
Well, and obviously the big fight right there is to get that second place and get the home field advantage in the semifinal.
The key is that BC would love to lock that up. They would hate to come to one of these cold weather environments and play in Saskatchewan or in Edmonton, because at that time it might be 10 below at kickoff.
19-1. Edmonton defeats Ottawa this afternoon. Scott?
Okay, Don, I'm with Ron Lancaster at center field here at Commonwealth Stadium. Ron, this game's a whole lot easier to figure out than others you played at home field this year.
Well, I'll tell you the tough thing. We knew coming in, we have a tough time with teams that blitz at us a lot, and Ottawa comes at you with a lot of people, and they cause us some problems. But basically, when you do that, you do take chances to go one-on-one deep, and we got some big plays on them.
So you'd say you'd be happy with a 19-point performance today?
Yeah, we're happy anytime you win a football game. You know, you got to play the game on that day, take what comes. You know, if it had been 19-1 loss, everybody'd be really upset. Let's take the 2 points.
Well, look at it this way. You could have scored 2 and 1 with the way your defense played.
Well, they played all right, but we let them move the ball up and down the field on us, but we shut them down when we had to. They turned, you know, they destructed themselves. They'd throw a couple interceptions down here or something or fumble, but they moved the ball very well on us.
Ron, how important was this win given the lack of consistency this team has shown this season?
Well, to me, every win's important. Well, you know, it doesn't matter at this stage of the game whether we're consistent or not. We get 2 points for the win. All we're trying to do is see where we're going to finish in this Western Division, and hopefully as high as we can get.
Well, you're driving, obviously, for second place. Did you talk to the team about that before the game?
No, not before the game. We talked about it last week during our week off, you know, bring us up to date where we are, what we have to do, and, you know, we still got some work to do, and there's a lot of good football teams that we have to play yet, but take the 2 points when you get it, Scott.
Big win considering you did it without Larry Ruck, who didn't start the game because of the hamstring, and Willie Pless, who didn't get past the first 2 minutes.
Right. Larry, you know, he's going to be questionable next week, too. Willie, that's 2 weeks in a row now, Sacramento game, and then here that he's got hit in the head and got a little woozy, and the doctors decided he couldn't play, and, you know, you always agree with that. Talking to Willie, he wasn't sure sometimes where he was.
I know you want to go in and talk to your team, but you also want to go in there and get on the phone and see how the Bisons fared at UBC this afternoon, where Ronnie Jr.'s team's playing and Bobby's Golden Bears playing at Saskatoon.
Yeah, it's hard on Saturday afternoons keeping up with everybody, Scott. You know, those two plus today, you know, just take them one at a time. We'll get some phone calls shortly to tell us how things go.
If the Golden Bears win, they knock Ronnie's Bisons out of playoff contention. Did you know that? Who you cheering for?
Well, I kind of think the Bisons are done anyway. I think they were knocked out last week.
Well, no, Ronnie told me this week that if the Golden Bears didn't win, they'd still be alive.
Well, we're down to that. It's ifs and buts or candy and nuts again, you know. Yeah. No, they were, to me, they were out last week. He's done a good job in his first year. He's just got to get some players in and build for next year.
This is what you call network time filler. Okay.
Yeah, I guess it is. I can tell you that. I can see him over there doing this.
All right, Ron, thanks for your time. Congratulations on the win.
All right, Scott.
Eskimos win 19-1 to take a share of second place in the CFL's West Division. We'll return to Commonwealth Stadium in just a moment.
Getting to be that time of year again. You know.
And you know, I think this is the only time I've ever seen him push a lawnmower.
CBC Sports presents the CFL on CBC. Brought to you by BC Tel.
At Commonwealth Stadium, the Eskimos are sending their fans home happy. A 19-1 victory over Ottawa will do the trick. The Eskimos now 6-2 at home. This game a marked departure from the way they played last time here when they were beaten 52-14 by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Key play in this victory today, a 102-yard touchdown by Henry Gizmo Williams. The pass from Damon Allen, the Giz with his blinding speed did the rest. 4.189, he tells me in the 40, sitting beside me now and loving every moment of that. He would not be caught. And Giz, you still got the speed.
Yeah. Age 42, I'm still running the 4.2, so I'm fine. You know, the older I get, the faster I get.
Now, there was no flip after that touchdown, but I guess after you sprint 100 yards, you didn't have enough left for it, did you?
Most of the time, I used to only do it on a punt return. I don't want to mess up my tradition, so I want to keep it like, you know, just real smooth, just try to get in the end zone and just hope I can find somewhere to relax.
Well, I'm glad we got the formula down pat then. I suspect that you enjoy almost as much as scoring touchdowns by punt returns, getting them on the pass, because it proves your ability as a receiver.
Yeah, you know, basically, I'm just glad I got the opportunity last year and this year, and just being able to work with Damon, and plus Adam Reeder did a lot of work with me off season, helped me out, you know, recognize defense, and then just try to get open and make something happen. He just told me, you know, when you catch the ball, just do like you do on punt return. Just run like hell. That's what I've been doing.
Pretty simple philosophy. Giz, how would you explain the inconsistency of this team this season? To play so well today, but the last time out, as I mentioned earlier, at Commonwealth Stadium, you guys were never really in it.
Well, I'm not trying to put my team down on them, but we had a lot of injuries on the offensive line. Plus, we had a lot of guys hurt. But, you know, they don't cause for nothing. We just got to go out and put some points on the board. I feel that when our offense is clicking, you know, we can stay and play with anybody, but when your offense is not putting no points on the board and you're leaving the defense out there too long, things not going to work for you, and you can't leave the defense out there all day long.
Stampeders have long since clinched first place in the CFL's West Division. Of course, it's a dogfight for second place now. Have you guys targeted it? Was that part of your motivation today?
Yeah, the most important thing, like I tell everybody, Ronnie said we had 3 goals. The first goal was to win the West, and we're out of that right now. And he said the second goal was to get in the playoff. We're in the playoff right now. And the third goal is to win the Grey Cup. So we are 2 out of 1 so far.
Let me ask you about your health here. You were limping a bit coming off the field at times today. You okay?
Yeah, I take on punt returns, I get a lot of guys hitting me after the play, and it kind of hurts sometimes, you know, but things like that going to happen.
That'll happen when you're 42 years old. Those shots hurt you. I know it well.
Yeah, exactly. You should know. You're 62. Can I just say hi to my little boy in Calgary?
Well, we'll get to that in a second. You can save the price of a phone call. I got one more question for you, and that's your conditioning. Don and James and Dan were talking about what superb shape you were in during the telecast today. Are you heading into the locker room now for a workout?
Basically, right now I'm going in. I'm going to probably eat me about 6 quarter pounder with cheese and probably drink me about 5.
You're setting nutrition back here, but go ahead.
No, I used to work out after the game, try to get the soreness right out of me. I used to do that a lot of times if I'm not banged up, you know, pretty bad. But today it would be a good workout for me today to go in and get everything going again.
Well, I guess that says something about how hard you work. All right, go ahead and save the cost of a phone call.
There you go. Hi, Henry Lee. That was for you, son. Don't worry, your dad is not getting old. His legs just hurt. Peace.
Thanks, Giz. Congratulations on outstanding performance
What
today.
about my jacket again? Do I get another one this year? I can't find a pair of pants to match the other one.
I'm sorry to tell you, we gave the jacket away to Wally's at Tilney last week. We're into new apparel now, and it's very expensive, Giz. It'll have to be a while before you get one of these.
No, read Wally having a great season. It's the jacket.
Thanks, Giz. All right, Jed Roberts had a strong game on the Edmonton defense today, which only allowed 1 point. I guess that about says it all, but he chipped in with a couple of sacks. Jed, would you call that the Eskimos' defense's best effort of the season?
No, actually, I'd have to say the best effort all year was against Toronto when we set the record for sacks. But today was pretty good. 1 point's not bad in the CFL. You're not going to see that every year, you know. I think what you saw today was an example of our defense being interchangeable, guys playing different positions. Like I played linebacker, which is out of position for me all day today.
Well, you never really let the Ottawa offense get going today, and here's an example, one of the sacks I talked about on Tom Burgess, who came in the fourth quarter.
Well, actually, that was sort of an error on my part. I wasn't supposed to go through that gap. I was supposed to wrap all the way around. And, you know, like the coaches say, if you're wrong, be wrong full speed, and that's a case of it working out.
And you said that you had to play at linebacker today, which is out of position for you, but some changes were made necessary by Willie Pless's injury, I suspect, early in the game.
Plus, with Larry out with the pulled hamstring from last week, we had to make some changes pretty fast when Willie went down. So, you know, I'm a guy that can play either linebacker or line, so they're not all that, you know, worried about me playing linebacker.
Talked to Giz a moment ago about the inconsistency of this team. You surrendered 52 points to Winnipeg here a couple of weeks back. Were you still stinging from that heading into today's game?
Yeah, actually, that's one of our goals, is to establish some momentum going into the playoffs and get some confidence on our offense. I know we've been patient all year, and our offense is starting to come around, and I think you'll see that the next couple of weeks.
Back-to-back games now against Ottawa. You go there next week. Were you sending the Riders a message?
Yeah, I hope so. You know, they'll be ready. They've got their backs almost not on the wall, but on the floor now, you know, so they've got to fight up, and we're in their way, so it'll be interesting next week.
Jed, thanks for your time. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
Jed Roberts and the Eskimos claim a 19-1 victory at Commonwealth Stadium today to take a share, at least for the time being, of second place in the CFL's West Division. We'll return. Eskimos made it a perfect day at Commonwealth Stadium, beating Ottawa 19-1. The Riders are still stumbling in the playoff race in the East Division, but the Eskimos have a share of second place in the West. Don?
Yes, the Ottawa Roughriders with just 3 wins to show for their efforts this year, but they still have a shot at a playoff berth.
They do. You know, they're really struggling right now between them and Toronto to see who wants to finish in last place in the East. But right now, there's a real sense of urgency in Ottawa. They have to settle something at quarterback, either Jones or Burgess, and just either win or lose with one of those 2 players.
Well, I think really, I thought Terrence Jones had a fairly decent first half. He called some good plays. He made some excellent passes, and then he scrambled very well. Put a lot of pressure on the defense. I think Edmonton going into Ottawa next year, you take away a couple of big plays out of that first half, and Ottawa and the fumble that Ottawa did right before the half, and they are right in the thick of this game and could have come away very easily with a win.
Well, Ottawa had an opportunity, as you say, to perhaps come back, but in the third quarter, when Jones didn't complete a pass, I think they may have waited a little too long in making a change.
I think he was a little nervous about the contact. And when you're playing quarterback, you have to know that you're going to be hit when you're in the pocket. You have to be patient, let your receivers clear the coverage, and deliver the football to him.
Now they play again Friday night. Who plays quarterback?
Markel Fleetwood. You know, he's the only one who really hasn't been challenged yet.
Maybe not, but I would suggest I go back with Terrence Jones. I think that Tommy Burgess played extremely well coming off of the bench. I like Terrence Jones going in as the starter. He puts a lot of pressure, as I said, on the defense. He's going to make the defense chase you around a little bit. He may get him a little tired, and that would allow Tommy Burgess maybe to have that step or two that he'll need to complete a pass or two.
Do you think there's any concern here in Edmonton, though, that apart from those 2 big passes, Damon Allen didn't do a whole lot today?
Well, go ahead. I don't think that there's a big problem about that, because Damon Allen has been up and down just like a yo-yo all season long. He's been extremely good in some games against Calgary, against Sacramento. He's been extremely horrible in other games. But somehow I think he really rises to the challenge, and I think he knows there's going to be a challenge next week. Biggest thing that I could see, they've got to find a rushing game somewhere to take a little heat off of knowing that Damon Allen's going to line up in that pocket every time and throw the ball.
Yeah, because he's the team's leading rush, and you really don't like that from your quarterback. You need a running back to step forth and say, hey, I'm going to carry the mail, and no one has done that thus far this year with Edmonton, and Damon Allen has had to shoulder the load, not just passing, but running the football also.
Well, the Eskimos win it this afternoon, 19-1, moving into a second-place tie in the West with BC. Scott?
Okay, Don, the significance of this game is in the standings. Eskimos, as you say, move into a second-place tie with BC, and it'll stay that way for at least a week because the Lions have the bye. Saskatchewan plays Hamilton tomorrow with a chance to make it a 3-way tie, and Calgary owns the division, just the way Winnipeg owns the East. The Bombers beat Sacramento last night, but lost Matt Dunnigan. Ticats look good for second place. Ottawa and Toronto remain in a less-than-inspired contest for the last playoff spot. We are never sure which team will show up here at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, but the Eskimos would say the real one did today as they claim a 19-1 victory over the Ottawa Roughriders. They're 2-0 in their last 2 games now, and that should answer some of the concerns about this team's consistency, while Ottawa, meanwhile, misses yet another chance to get the inside track on a playoff spot in the East. Our next telecast a week today, Stampeders, home and cooled in first place, will be at Taylor Field in Regina to play the Western Riders. On Molson Hockey Night in Canada tonight, it's Quebec at Montreal, Toronto at Detroit. Leafs at 5-0 are off to their best start in quite some time. And here in Edmonton at Northlands Coliseum, the Canucks face the Oilers in a rematch of a Thanksgiving Monday game in which Vancouver beat Edmonton 4-1. The attraction in Edmonton this afternoon, an Eskimo victory over Ottawa. Edmonton dominates the Riders, and they win by 18. On behalf of all of us here, thanks for watching this telecast, and so long from Commonwealth Stadium.
CBC Sports, home of the champions.